Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. You saw the thumbnail? You saw the title. We haven't done this in a while. We haven't entered into Candyland in a while. So today we are going to look at the most recent interview that she did with Elizabeth Lane. Have no fear, people. It is as completely ridiculous as you anticipated it to be. So thank you so much for tapping in with us today. I really appreciate all of you already jumping in to the best live chat on the internet. Shout out to you, Texas Mom. How are you? How are you? Good to see you. This comment is so crazy. Charlie is supposed to be resting in glory, but according to these wackadoodles, he's busy as heck appearing to them in dreams. I know, like, leave that man alone. Come on, leave that brother alone. That man is not bothering y'all. Good afternoon to all. From where? Florence, Kentucky. That's where. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. What's going on? The Honey Bunny Empress. How are you? Good to see you. Hey to you. Good to see you, friends. All right, this is going to be a good one. I want to say, before we get too far afield, thank you so much to everybody who's been helping me with my challenge. I challenged a righteous perspective to hit 150,000 likes this month. We're chugging along. We're making progress. So thank you to everybody who's hitting the like button, all that kind of good jazz. I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting, all that kind of stuff like that. It means a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. As well, thank you to everybody who's already rated the merch store. We got some new shirts popping in there, and a lot of people have copped them. Thank you so much. I think I got 10 this month. That's outstanding, and it's the 15th of the month. Let's go. Thank you so much. Get your group therapy shirt. Get your J-Wib podcast hat, whatever it is that you need. Well, not whatever. Take that back. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, let me also formally announce, about a week and a half ago, we sat down with Tracy Martin. Beautiful guest. We talked about her relationship with Charlie Kirk and all that kind of good stuff like that. And she's an author, as most of you know, and she wrote a book and she wanted to give her book away. So what we're going to be doing is we have a giveaway at the end of the month. And all I ask you to do, actually, just go to the comment, go to the community post, and it just explains it. All I ask you to do is, there's a video that we did about Tracy Martin. If you could, please make sure you like that video. I wanted to see if I can get it to 10,000 views. But then also make sure you comment TM or Tracy Martin in the comment section. We're just going to do a very non-formal, drawing on the 31st of the month, and love to get those books out to you all. Now, if we do hit 10,000 views, we're going to get 2 more books. So we got a total of 3 right now. And if we get 10,000 views, Tracy says she'll throw in 2 more books. So check it out. Thank you so much to the moderators already jumping in, getting everything moving in the right direction. Now, to set the pace, to set the tone, and I don't know who it was. Somebody in one of my groups, who was it? Shout out to Chrissy. It was Chrissy. Chrissy sent me Steven Crowder responding to Kamala Harris. Oh, there's Chrissy. There you are. Shout out to you, Chrissy. And I started watching it. It looked hilarious. So I said, why don't we watch it together? So why don't we watch it together? If you don't mind, you know how we like to do it. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. All right, let's go, people. Oh, I got it over here on the screen. Boom, bang. All right, let's do it. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear, my good people.
What has already been set as the baseline. The left will do this if they achieve power. Kamala Harris. Don't say who. So she now has come back to show Win with Black Women. What's funny is, like, the pitch in the title, if it's going to be like a sentence with a verb, it's got to include something that people want to do. Like, get jacked in 60 days. I'm not saying it's true, but that's like, well, I want to do that. Or like, get rich with this 6 steps. That's the hook.
Right.
Win with Black women. You're really going into a relatively small subset of people. So she went on this show, because it's How to Win with Black Women, to talk about how the left will permanently seize power, because that's the appropriate venue. And what does it include? Well, told you so, abolishing the Electoral College, packing the Supreme Court, and DC, Puerto Rico statehood. By the way, if any of these happen, maybe no, if any single one of these happen, you no longer have a country. I hope you understand that. Any single one of these things happen, we will reach the tipping point and it will become socialist Europe. I'd bet my life on it. Here she is.
We have basically, we say, this is a moment where there are no bad ideas. No bad idea brainstorm is what I'd like to call it.
Of course she wants.
No, there are bad ideas, but we allow. See, that's the thing. I did that video on brainstorming, and this is exactly what I'm talking about. No, there are bad ideas. We just allow you to put them on the table and just know that this bad idea is going to get shellacked. You're thinking like a toddler. So no, we're going to shellac it, but we're not going to discourage you from putting out an idea because you might put out a good one. You might put out an actually good idea, but there are bad ideas. So no. That's a bad idea to even lie to you like that. But let's see what she's saying. Let's see. All right, let's go, Kamala. Let's go. And by the way, I'm sorry, Kamala is not a black woman. I'm going to say that again. My name is Jason, jwitt at jwitt.com. Kamala Harris is not a black woman. So this whole notion that black people need to cape for Kamala Harris, why is the Indian community not going hard for Kamala Harris? Why are black people the ones that got to crash out for her? but even more than that, isn't she going to be the president of white people? Is she not going to be would she not be the president of Asian people, Hispanic people? Why is it only black folk that get chastised for not voting for this cosplaying chameleon? Yo, stop this dumb stuff.
That
she can find one.
No bad ideas brainstorm.
Just pause.
We talk about.
Remember they tried to sell us this woman was black? Continue.
Well, there we go.
What we need to do and think about doing around the Electoral College. We talk about the idea of Supreme Court reform, which includes expanding the Supreme Court. We invite a conversation about multi-members districts, that we agree that it is right to have ethics rules for Supreme Court justices. And let's put those in place. Let's talk about statehood for Puerto Rico and DC.
Why?
These are the things I think that we've got to do. We've got to neutralize these red states from cheating. Including blue states expanding their maps. What? And all of this, I think, is look, we got to fight fire with fire.
You're drunk.
Yeah, I recommend you stay far away from fire.
Yeah, exactly. Now, see, look, both sides do it. To be clear, we've maintained this position for a long time as far as redistricting, when people talk about that. Yeah, both sides do it, and it just comes down to, do you want the left to win? Because it's going to be done no matter what. That's different from expanding your state's maps. Now, she could have just worded it improperly because she's drunk.
Likely.
Wow.
Because she's, drunken white bitch gonna drunken white bitch. But yeah, everything she just said was poorly thought through, but it is what the left wants to do. I discussed that with Nick Fuentes. These are the consequences. It's not doomering or doomerism. It's not fear-mongering. She is saying what has already been set as the baseline. The left will do this if they achieve power. Here's your favorite Cajun saying the same thing.
If the Democrats win the presidency in both houses of Congress, I think on day one, they should make Puerto Rico, D.C. a state, and they should expand the Supreme Court to 13. Fuck it, eat our dust. They've done everything they could. They held up the 2000 election. They stole it. They've stolen Supreme Court seats. They've gerrymandered everything that you can, and the only way to fight this is don't run on it, don't talk about it, just do it.
That's right. You gonna be eating our dust, we be eating crawfish.
Well, I Dusty Rose.
That's right. You be drinking swamp water, I'll be on the front porch with mint julep.
Screw them, they can eat our Creole butthole.
Sauce palm. Here's
oh man,
black.
We won't mess around. We're gonna make this into a dictatorship.
Yeah, that's right. Or at the end of the day, you just don't get a dictatorship. You're gonna get my dick.
You're gonna taste it.
That's right.
Oh my.
Like this, like the dust.
Just taste like Old Bay.
Here's the black women reminding us how they are the ones going to save democracy. That's why you have to win them.
And what we've always known is that Black women have always been expected to organize, mobilize, rescue democracy, and then quietly return to the background once decisions were made.
No one's ever expected a black woman to be quiet.
Nobody's ever expected black women to rescue something. How about we rescue our families? How about why don't you rescue your men and actually marry one? Like this retarded on his face. There's always this grandiose idea. We put out this grandiose idea that you cannot achieve, but you make it sound like, oh, we achieve it every day and twice on Sunday. Nobody's asking for this. Nobody's asking for this. And this, I'm sorry, this is some retarded stuff. And her name is Jartetta Edie. And ma'am, you're just making a retarded statement.
Not only be the firewall against extremism, but we must be the architects of what comes next. Black women do not have
I hate them because you know they're adding that smoke alarm to the back. I'm gonna back up just a second so you can hear it. They're adding the smoke alarm beep sound chirp in the background. They are out of control. Crowder is wild stuff, you know. He's wild, but nobody's asking for this. I'm gonna say this, and this is gonna hurt some people's feelings. So come on up here to the front of the church. Come on up here, real quick. Get up here close to the front of the church so you can make sure you hear correctly. We see what you're doing with your families, Black women. No, absolutely not. Nobody's asking you to do more because we see what you've done with your kids. We see what you've done with your communities without your Black men. Miss us with that. Nobody's asking for that. You believe that because you've taught yourself some kind of shenanigans and chicanery, but nobody's believing that except you. Nobody's asking you to do anything. No, nobody's asking you to do that. You are. Let's go.
And then quietly return to the background once decisions were made.
No one's ever expected a Black woman to be quiet.
We cannot only be the firewall against extremism, but we must be the architects of what comes next. Black women do not have to carry every movement alone. And coalition work matters, but reciprocity matters also.
Oftentimes we say, well, we out here, who with us? Baby, everybody with us. It's all of us versus them 5 races that are on their dime bed. At the end of the day, here we go.
Bye.
What did she say? Is it 5 races that are on their dime bed?
I don't know.
Dime bag?
Well, she said deathbed.
Deathbed, dying. There's more than 5, but it's not the racist you have to worry about.
That's enough about my hospice care.
Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
what that blonde lady say.
That blonde Black lady who we need to win.
Let me jump.
What does overpaying on your taxes feel like? Immediate relief and expert guidance.
All right. I see. Shout out to you. Oh my God.
Here's them christening Kamala Harris as our forever leader.
Forever leader.
I want to introduce someone who needs no
LaTosha
introduction,
Brown.
Right? A sister who has inspired us, a sister that
Bigfoot's
not
cave.
only broke the glass ceiling, right, but continues to put, if you just put a little light in a dark room, that whole nature and the character of that room has changed. And that's what this sister did.
Pause. Hold on a second.
I'm going to say something real quick, too. What must it feel like to the Indian community that knows Kamala Harris is Indian, but to hear this type of rhetoric and foolishness, what do they feel like when they see this? That's some crazy work. Ma'am, LaTosha Brown, she is not a Black woman. Stop it. You're not going to make her a Black woman by saying that. Let it go. Stop it.
I love what was just said. It's a Zoom full of clearly Black ladies.
Yes.
And Kamala Harris. And she says, if you just put a little light in a Black room, that's what you did. Put one white lady on a Black lady Zoom call, but she is your leader. Let's keep playing.
She will be forever VP and maybe one day something even greater. God, who knows what God has in store.
She broke the glass ceiling and broke the light in the room, and it's an opening for all of us.
But enough about her drunken stupor.
And our forever
That's
Vice President Kamala Harris.
So let me introduce.
That's her name. I'm not kidding.
Our forever leader and Vice President Kamala Harris.
Miss LaTosha, let me just thank you.
Y'all are wild.
Girl, for everything.
Forever? Ever? Forever?
It's just like she studied a book on how to sound Black.
Yeah. I mean,
Miss LaTosha.
Miss LaTosha.
Thank you.
We all have to act as though this is legitimate. That name, can you repeat it for me, please?
Jotaka Iadi.
I guarantee you that means nothing in any actual African language.
It doesn't, no.
They make it up to sound. Think about this. Black people make up names to sound ethnic, and it has no relation to any other language. They're just, it's not English, so it'll fake out white people.
Right.
That's the play.
if I name my daughter this,
yeah,
then she won't get into college and I can claim racism.
Yes,
right.
Exactly right.
Walk around on speakerphone
Like
all day.
Kwanzaa. Like, think about they go, race relations are worse because there is not all black people, but far too many. There is too large of a percentage of the black population who are constantly trying to lay down landmines as a method of perpetuating victimhood. Kwanzaa is a perfect example. Kwanzaa is a perfect example. There were more black Americans who were observantly Christian than white Americans. It's a big part of their culture. Church was very much their third place. And they go, well, we need a holiday for black, by the way, not Africans, black Americans. Mm-hmm. They have Christmas. And so Kwanzaa was made up by basically a sex cult, sex offender, serial criminal, Ron Everett, who changed his name to Karenga. You can go find and pull the criminal records, beat women with hoses, soldering irons, filled their faces with bleach in order to screw more of them. And it's celebrated by less than 1% of black America. Celebrate nowhere else, black people, certainly not anywhere in Africa. It's made up. And they do this to tell you, hey, this is a problem. Our culture has been kept down no, that is not a legitimate grievance. It's a made up thing, just like your name. Can we get to the facts, please? The answer is invariably no. But you have to win them.
Yes.
How do you win somebody who keeps making stuff up?
And they keep worshiping Kamala Harris. Like, why is this the person that you guys are choosing to back? She was very unpopular. I started laughing a minute ago.
One guess.
Yeah, well, I understand that, but I started laughing. It's like, and Kamala wept, for as she looked at her political career, she realized there were no more men to blow for promotion.
Yes.
It's like, this is the end of this woman. Just let her go away, please.
Yeah, I mean, she probably did with Joe Biden. You just didn't remember it.
Wow. You
or
guys
unsatisfied.
are wild.
It's a 2-star experience.
Shout out to Crowder.
That's just the DNC roll call as Kamala Harris. I got the delegates. So here's the thing. Speaking of African Americans, we actually, you may not know this, but it's always been kind of funny, but he's become a good friend of the show. Kamala Harris's dad, his name is Donald J. Harris, and we have him again on the show. We go now to Donald J. Harris for his thoughts. Who is that? All right, welcome back, Mr. Harris. We're talking about your daughter's recent interview where she said the quiet part out loud. What's your reaction, Mr. Harris?
Me say that girl never learn. She never be keeping her mouth quiet, man. Oh no, not since she was a little girl. When she did it, the college professor could hear the pounding in the hall and in the bedroom.
Hey, okay, I got it. What are your thoughts about the permanent restructuring of the Supreme Court is really what I was talking about more.
Listen, man, me daughter, she tried to be a big shot, but she's nothing more than a blasted coconut.
I don't know what that means.
Hard and brown on the outside, full of white goo up on the inside.
No.
Big fatty girl.
Okay, we've heard that saying over the very promiscuous.
Well, because she's a bocat.
I'm going to regret this with the bocat.
Because she blows at the boys.
Mr. Harris, that is your daughter, sir.
That's right. Like father, like daughter. We both like to grind.
Now, can you confirm, I'm just going to act as though this is going really well, that these are the actual plans within the Democratic Party?
Look, man, the plan is to win, right? And if that means my daughter got to open up a big mouth again, then so be it. She always do the dirty work. It's where she is done.
I think we need to end this interview, Mr. Harris. I don't think it's very productive.
Why? Me just getting started, man. Like that time she spent the summer selling no cocoa bread. Everybody lining up for the value.
That's enough. Toolman Tim, cut it.
Yeah, man, like
no.
That guy's
what in the world?
Can't believe that.
Pack the court. Do away with the Electoral College. Make D.C., Puerto Rico states. Country's gone. If any of those three happen, they want to do all of it. Any of those three happen. Yeah. You comment. You let me know if you disagree. And by the way, there is that is a fundamental changing of America. It's not a different vision for America. Right. It's how do we work the system or trick America to become not America? Just think about the Electoral College for a second. We want to do away with that because you want the rest of the country to be forced under Mamdani-like rule. Why should Mamdani types have a say as to what goes on in Idaho? Why should Mamdani determine the budget in Oklahoma? That's the reason for the Electoral College. And what's funny is I've heard the left's new argument, like, well, really, the Electoral College is some form of DEI. Here's the funny part.
That's crazy.
It's actually not. That's it. That's the funny part. It's not race-based. Right. It's actually about equal representation. We're talking about a country where everyone should be represented fairly as opposed to a couple of large cities. What you're really advocating for is mob rule, majority. By the way, DEI was also instituted through mandate and iron fist. So really the only consistent through line with the left is power and exercising it at all costs. That's it. Marxists. Achieve power. Once you do, no wiggle room. Just know that. Know that. There will be no mercy for you.
Yeah.
There never is. And just know, those of you who vote left, look, I want you to look at the lessons through history. Look at the USSR. Look at communist China. Look at Cambodia. Look at Cuba. There's no mercy for their own allies if they are no longer useful. Meaning, if you think, you know what, everything is the same, so I'll just vote for a Democrat and then we'll be... They will remember that. You know, the first thing that happens in communist nations, first off, they usually kill off or imprison the gays, Cuba, Russia, China, go through it. Why? Because you can't fix that country because you can't populate. Gone. Then they get rid of the poets and the artists, you know, the people who, the creative types, intelligentsia. Why? Because they're useless. They aren't actually contributing to the manual labor force. See every example that I've listed here. And then you know what else?
Are contradictory.
Well, eventually they fear that they'll be contradictory because the intellectuals are used to bring them into power. Also think Iranian regime, by the way. Remember, a really unholy alliance of college revolutionaries who were effectively socialists. And then they were, what happened? Immediately executed. And then the intellectuals. Look at Cambodia, right? Said lawyers, doctors, professors, we're going to put you to, have you heard the term killing fields? You're now going to farm. And if you can't farm, you're going to die. So anyone who thinks that you'll be given mercy, I'm not just talking about conservatives, and I'm not just talking about conservative turncoats who go, everything's the same, so I'm going to vote for the Marxists. I'm talking about actual Marxists who believe this, but aren't of enough value to the cause. Once power is achieved, you will receive no mercy. You can find no exceptions to this rule throughout all of human history, period. But this time it'll be different. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now.
Shout out
I'm not here.
to Louder Crowder. And as he ended that, I just want to bring back up again. This is why we need to bring back the argument that not all ideas are good and that we need to be able to say that is a stupid idea and jettison it out of here. Get out of here with that stupid idea. That's dumb. We need to be able to say that and shame people because at the current moment, the idea that all ideas are equal, so the idea of a constitutional republic and the idea of communism are equal. No, there's one that is superior. The constitutional republic is superior to a communist country, period, end of day. And we need to say that, say it loud, say it often, say it as many times as we need to, that communism is stupid. It doesn't work. And it doesn't need to just be done correctly. It never will be done correctly because what is correct about communism is complete and total craziness. Shout out to the Best Live Chat. Thank y'all so much for tapping in. I appreciate y'all. Let me get rid of this. Somebody said Edie just did a video. All right, we got to get into this, y'all, because we got a little lengthy night tonight. We got Candace sat down last night or yesterday with Elizabeth Lane. And I'm sure if you've been on X, they have been torching them. And I just said, let's just go through the whole thing. Let's just do it. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's do it. Let's check it out. And let's see what y'all think about it. I think you're going to enjoy it. There's going to be a lot of stopping and adding my 2 cents to it. So I wanted to let you know ahead of time because this one is the bit that I watch is pretty bad. And I'm sure if you've seen it, again, if you've seen the clips, they're all over the place. So shout out to the Best Live Chat on the internet. Thank you, everybody who's going ahead and hit the like button. Let me know what your like number is as you jump in. And I'm just double checking to make sure nothing has changed before I get ready to hit this go button. Let's do this. Elizabeth Lane is giving us all a bad name. Right. For Elizabeth. I'm for you, Elizabeth. You are okay. The other Elizabeth is bad business. This is so bad, man. This is so lame. Let's do it. Y'all ready?
So happy to be here. Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you. So
she looks like that lady from SNL. Oh, I'm going to be stopping. So I'm just going to let you know that ahead of time. Some people like to tell me that they don't like when I stop on the videos and they're just let them talk. Ma'am, sir, go watch it yourself. I'm going to talk. That's what I do. It's called commentary. All right, we got to get comfortable here, y'all. Woo. Did Lane have her Charlie dream before Candace? I don't know. That's a great question. We're going to, don't worry about it. I got some jokes planned for that segment as well. She looks like that lady from Saturday Night Live. Who's that lady? Y'all know who I'm talking about. Don't y'all pretend like y'all don't know who I'm talking about.
Candace Owens. Thank you so much.
Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you. So you know that I'm a huge fan of yours, and no matter how many people are out there trying to bring you down, I'm always going to be on your side. Hope nothing changes unless one day you come out and you'll start, pushing Zionist propaganda, then I might have to leave you then.
Okay, I'm going to say this again. And I mean this with my whole entire heart. I mean this with everything, every fiber of my being. These people love Israel more. I'm going to go on a limb. Here we go. These people love Israel more than Jesus loves Israel. Okay. They love Israel. They love Zion. They love Zion more than King David loves Zion. Okay. They love Zion. But the problem is they know that they can't. I'm not supposed to love them. So I'm gonna say bad things about Israel. I'm gonna say bad things about the Jews. I'm gonna say bad things about Israel and Zion because I can't love them, but I love them so much. These people are crazy for Zion. Because you just heard her say right here, she would only be upset if Candace comes out saying that she something about Zion, not about what's going on here in the United States. Again, 9 time zones away, sliver of land the size of New Jersey. These people love Israel. I'm sorry. They love him. Y'all prove me wrong. That's what I'm gonna say. Prove me wrong as you hit those green hearts in the chat. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. I don't want to be right next to Candace like that. Is that okay? I'm gonna do like this. Okay.
Safely say that day will not come.
Okay, perfect. I thought about this interview when I was coming over here, and I was like, what do I want to, where do I want to go with this? Because everyone knows, Candace, you're so open out there with people. I think that's why they love you so much, because you speak for them. That's that's how I see you, my reflection of you. So I wanted to start with a story of Charlie Kirk that no one knows, something that brings you happiness, something that you can remember and share with us.
I'm sorry. I don't know what y'all want to say. Feel free, email management. But the fact that this woman started off with, tell me something about Charlie, not tell me something about your family, your husband, your kids, that's diabolical work. That's some diabolical work. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, as sure as my name is Jason, she gonna come out and say her and Charlie Kirk did the horizontal mambo. I'm gonna tell you this. It's gonna come out. Eventually she's gonna say it. Because she's just making up stuff now out of whole cloth. Okay, she's making it up. But the fact that this woman did not even say, tell me about your family. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about what it's like to be a mom who homeschools 4 children. Nothing of that nature. Tell me about the complexity of your husband moving from another country, moving here. What kind of weird, anything of that nature. No, tell me about Charlie Kirk.
Wow, I could pick a lot of stories.
I'm sure you could.
I say this often on my podcast, but he was really funny. And one of the things that I guess is so sad in sort of the wake of his assassination is it was so corporatized and so political that you didn't learn anything about Charlie when you heard all of these political figures speaking and obviously pushing their church propaganda and also Republican propaganda. And the real Charlie was just objectively hilarious. He was objectively hilarious. But there's one story that I actually thought about recently, which was obviously.
She's making this completely up out of whole cloth. Remind me, we need to go find some body language experts. I promise you, this body language experts are going to be talking about this. She's lying out of whole cloth. She's making it up.
We traveled, 4 times a week. We were traveling together. You really just get to know somebody in that circumstance. Early morning, you realize you forgot to pack something or your suitcase didn't come through, and we're waiting outside at like 4 a.m. for Walmart to open at 5 a.m. in the middle of nowhere. But I will never forget New Mexico. Charlie and I used to always eat Chipotle. That was our go-to. We ate Chipotle everywhere we were. We were just thinking, gosh, Chipotle has to sponsor us. It was just an easy meal that felt light enough and you don't feel like.
So I wanted people to watch this because I noticed that she's talking about things, brand new things that we've never talked about before. We always ate Chipotle. I'm going to go on a limb. This is my very first time ever hearing that they always ate Chipotle. I mean, of all the things that they've talked about, I don't think I've ever heard her say we've always ate Chipotle, which is just, again, a very interesting niche, whatever. Like we always ate Chipotle. That was my first time hearing that. But let us keep this dance going. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Crap when you're traveling. But we went to New Mexico, and this was during the time that we were wearing like the Build the Wall shirts and like, very pro-Trump, very pro-MAGA, wearing our MAGA hats, Build the Wall. And we went to this random Chipotle in New Mexico. And I can't explain it to you, but it was the greatest tacos we ever had in our lives. And I just remember Charlie saying, the tomatoes are glistening. Like the tomatoes are glistening. And he was like, do you think we got this wall thing wrong? Like, should we go backwards and stop saying Build the Wall? Because like maybe this is because we're so close to the border. And I was like, I don't think we have it right, Charlie. I think we need to hear the other side. And just thinking of that Chipotle and how we constantly talked about the glistening tomatoes afterwards is just one of my favorite Charlie moments. Like he was just very, very funny, very aware of himself, really could make fun of himself, which we're both like that. We just don't take ourselves too seriously. And I think just his sense of humor.
Sign of a wise person.
Yeah.
I need somebody, shout out to, there we go. Shout out to Automotive Truth. She said this before. Okay. All right. Now, because you said that, I need you, Automotive Truth, your assignment during this video is I need you to keep tabs on every time she mentions George or her children. Okay. I need you to keep tabs on that. And at the end, let me know how many times she mentions George or her children. All right. We already know she's going to talk about Charlie. So that's almost like a given. But I want to know how many times she brings up her own family. Because she's in the basement. The kids and the family are upstairs. I want to know how many times she does that. Keep track on that for me.
And he was, and I didn't know him personally, but I'll tell you something that happened to me when he died. I've never said this before, ever.
This is weird.
I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I never met Charlie Kirk. And he came to me in my dream, which was weird. And I was worried because I was like, I don't think I'm doing enough for this investigation because, I don't only work on Charlie Kirk. I work on multiple other things. So it's like I've got a small team and I'm like, I don't think I'm doing enough. There's so much smoke in here and I have to like maybe try harder. So I go to sleep and he comes to me and I don't know, you tell me if that's like Charlie. He hugs me for some reason, smiles, and he's like, you're doing just fine. I never knew him.
That woman is. This woman is so mad. She like, how is my necromancing crush over here gallivanting over here with this floozy? Candace should not have put this video up. She should never. Look at her face, man. She is so mad. You know she mad. You know I'm not making that up. She is PO'd. She is mad that her necromancing Casper the Friendly Ghost crush is over here gallivanting around with some other chick. Oh, and by the way, he's married. This is some crazy word. But this is what happens. This is what happens when you allow yourself to not be anchored in the truth and reality of who God is, and you just kind of floating around, whatever. This is what we got. I gotta stop, man. Oh my God.
Personally, but he was smiling and he hugged me and he's like, you're doing just fine. So I remember like just asking him like, who killed you? So I did. I was like, who killed you? Like that would be easier to tell me like who killed you. And you know what he said? He said the same people that killed JFK.
She about to say this. Candace is not happy. Candace is so upset right here. I don't care what she. Look at her face. Tell me that woman. Tell me that's the face of a happy woman. Tell me. I got to screenshot that. This woman is so mad. Okay, Jason, stop. Okay, stop.
Wow, you had this in your dream.
In a dream.
Wow.
I woke up at 4 a.m. and texted my friend. She's also my producer. Texted my friend and I was like, I just had Charlie Kirk tell me this in my dream.
Wow.
And yeah, well, obviously it's not the same people because they are all dead, but you know what he meant. And I usually don't believe in dreams, but it was so unusual for me to dream about somebody I never met. And maybe someone can say like, it's because of, your imagination, you were worried that you were not doing enough. And, it could be that you're imagining, but
for me,
the bad thing is you can make yourself dream something. if you just pick something random and you're going to bed, as you're going to sleep, all you're doing is thinking about that random thing, a pink unicorn, buying a new Maserati, skydiving. If you do that every night, don't be surprised one night you actually dream about skydiving. That's not unheard of. It's pretty random. I mean, it's pretty common and such like that. If your mind is just completely inundated with the fact that you're opening up a new business and you're stressed about the vendors and you want to make sure that the delivery gets there, what do you think you're going to dream about? Right? It's okay. That's not a big deal. Like if you're sitting there transfixed on Charlie Kirk, by the way, and you're sitting there focusing on another woman's husband to that degree, am I supposed to be shocked and surprised and in awe that you dreamed about him? Come on. And these people, man, these people are some grade A fools in 4K. I just got to say that. Let's go.
Have so much of this world is built around wanting people not to have the confidence to go with their gut. And I realize that it's all about don't trust your intuition, don't believe your dreams, don't think you can follow your dreams. This is actually one of the reasons why I was such a big Kanye fan, because I felt like in his music, he sort of like gave us the code. That's why he was so hated. He refused to be put into a box. And so I have had dreams that have become
so
true. Like I
again, again, do this. If you wanted to, you could dream about your car being polished and waxed and shining like the top of the Chrysler building. I mean, wheels clean, everything inside. You've really got it detailed. If you think about that before you're going to sleep every night for a week, guess what? You're probably going to end up dreaming about driving your car all shined up and polished. Now, if you go get your car shined up and polished because Father's Day is coming up, or you really want to try out some car wash techniques, guess what you've done? You brought your dream into reality. The fact that this woman, and you notice she has to one up the young lady, because she just said that she started out with the story about Chipotle. This woman came out there with, no, I had a dream about Charlie. He hugged me and gave me a little goose on the bottom. And whoa. Now Candace has got to go way out in left field, and she's got to be like, look, I got to validate your dreams and everybody's dreams, because I'm the head mistress up in this thing. This is crazy, absolute insane work.
Showed to demonstrate that on my show, where literally the day that my former executive producer got pregnant, I had the clearest dream, and they were like trying to get pregnant for a while. The clearest dream, it was a boy. I knew exactly when he was going to be born. I told her that the next day, and she was like, well, no. And then she found out about a week later that she was pregnant, and she wrote me and was like, this really freaks me out. And my sisters have had that every single time one of me and my sisters is pregnant. One of us has a very clear dream of the sex of the baby when the baby's going to be born. And so this whole idea that your dreams don't mean anything, sometimes they don't. Like sometimes I watch a scary movie and then I have a scary dream. And so it can be impacted by that. But there is a difference. And when you know that a dream didn't feel like a dream, right?
Then what's the standard? What's the standard that my dream doesn't feel like a dream? What is the feeling? How do I determine, hey, by the way, I had a dream that somebody dumped a gallon of Nutella on your head. What does that mean? Like, how do we determine that? Well, see, that's the problem. You only know it's real when something happens. Oh yeah, I had a dream about somebody dunking your head in a gallon of Nutella. I had a dream about it last Tuesday, because it doesn't matter until it actually happens and it's been confirmed. Otherwise, it sounds crazy. Right, this woman is some grade A crazy. Let's go.
You wake up and you go, I wasn't thinking about this topic, or I never thought of this person in this way. Andrew Colbert being one of them. Never thought about Andrew Colbert in that way ever. So I didn't go to bed going, I wonder if Andrew Colbert. No, I fully trusted Andrew Colbert at the beginning of this. I knew Andrew Colbert. I had no reason not to trust Turning Point at that moment. And that dream shook me. Yeah, so I hope that people listening to this just know that they build this entire system not to get you, because they want you not to trust your intuition. Your intuition, there's so much more that we will never know. Things are metaphysical, and that's why I remind people hell is real. They know it's real. And I think that there was something about the Charlie Kirk assassination that made people realize that demons are real.
Oh yeah.
Right. And you know what? In the chat, put a capital D if you believe after the Charlie Kirk assassination, you became more convinced that there were demons. And bonus points if you're watching this video right now and you see probably one of them on the screen. Bonus points. Put a capital D if you believe. I mean, ma'am, this is not revelation knowledge. The problem is, which seems very interesting to me, is that Candace doesn't seem to realize that she is the problem. I don't think she realizes it. Yeah, we all see the demon, Candace. You are correct. We do agree with you because we think you are the one. This is some crazy work, y'all. Who told me to watch this?
A lot of people who were atheists who aren't feeling so atheistic today.
Yeah. And that's why I was like so confused because Charlie was not my friend. It would make sense if he came to you talking, you know. So he's just one of the cases. I've been on multiple other cases when people die and, you know, I feel like, okay, something's off here. And I worked with detectives and I was so shocked. But then, and only then, I started kind of putting parallels between JFK and his assassination. And I think that, you know, they are very similar in many ways.
Of course they are.
Do you agree?
Absolutely, they are. And I do believe that the same players are involved. Not something that I believed in the beginning, but following this investigation, obviously right away, I think what made people look up and wonder what's going on here was just Bibi Netanyahu's little press tour. This is not normal. You can't normalize these things and pretend that it's okay. There have been other elements, of course, even
messaging,
the messaging right away.
Public, like you go against us. There you go. This is what you get.
The lie.
Yeah.
The unnecessary lie and the anger that they have toward.
What is the unnecessary lie? She's going to do this a lot. She's going to say that so-and-so has been caught in a lie or this person lies. And you're like, well, what are the actual lies that we're referring to? What are they? Like, what are the lies? Because the same thing, the exact same thing could be said about Candace. Exact same thing, that she lies, and she's lied multiple times. And she's not given any evidence, any proof. There's no receipts whatsoever. And my goodness, in the morning, that whole thing with the email that she transcribed, good gracious alive. I'm telling you, man, Candace Owens is a IQ test, and many, many people in Cantifa have failed. Let's go.
People who are trying to figure out what happened, a turning point being upset with Joe Kent. That was beyond weird for trying to investigate foreign involvement. Erica making a joke about foreign involvement. We don't why is she not concerned about Egyptian planes? Even if it turned out that it was nothing and really they just.
Why are you not showing us the evidence about the Egyptian planes? See, this is one of those lies. This is one of those. She has said multiple times she's going to put it on her website. There is no Egyptian plane data on her website. She has lied. That is a lie, according to her own standard. So why should somebody believe the Egyptian plane when you've given us no information to actually ascertain and look at it and determine, yeah, this is probably right, or no, this is crazy. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds retarded. Remember I said there are bad ideas. So you put that idea on the table and we can say, that's stupid. We're not going to deal with that. But also, you've given us no evidence. That's the other point of it. You say it, Egyptian plane, but you haven't given us any data, anything that we can look at. And again, that's just one of them. Probably not the most egregious. I think the most egregious is the French assassination plot. We haven't even seen the email that you allegedly got that told you about the thing. Not whatsoever. But notice the French assassination has completely slid off the radar. You don't ever hear talk about it anymore. Because then the next logical question is, why did you not go to the police and file a police report? That's what I'm talking about.
Came into town to change, some parts, and for whatever reason, the Egyptian Air Force just can't find any place. She's not concerned.
Well, she's mocking it.
That's
mocking why I was like, she came out. What show was it on? Fox News, of course. Like Fox News became a mouthpiece of TPUSA. At least that's how I see it. If you check out their social media, probably like 8 out of 10 would be TPUSA stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, since when are we doing this, people? Mm-hmm. Even when Charlie was there, we were not doing that. Fox News was not an active mouthpiece of TPUSA. Now it is. Mm-hmm. So she comes out and she mocks specifically Egyptian planes.
Mm-hmm. Like she was told to do it.
Right.
But see, it's funny. Candace knows that she is the Egyptian plane story is retarded on his face. She knows that. But because people don't believe it, then they're mocking her and they're not taking it seriously. Ma'am, you've given us no reason to believe it. This would be akin to your child come and telling you a story. You know, there's no concrete evidence to what they're talking about. So no, you're not going to take it seriously. So why is Erica bad because she didn't take you seriously, but you're not so serious as to actually show the evidence that why they need to take it seriously if you're so serious?
My husband, God forbid anything ever happened to him, and the story didn't make any sense. And then I find out that my husband, who had real enemies and who was turning his back on Israel the day before, we thought that message was September 8th. We then learned it was September 9th, where he said, I'm abandoning the Israeli cause. And then I see that there's an Egyptian Air Force. I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to be getting in touch with Joe Kemp myself and Tulsi Gabbard and saying, we need to investigate this. She doesn't care. She does not care.
That's the message
and
I get.
to be so aloof about that.
No, see, I love this framing to say that, why would you think, since Israel and Egypt don't rock together already, so why would I immediately think, even if, let's pretend that the whole Israel story is true, which, by the way, I don't believe is true at all. But let's just pretend. So he says he's going to shift his position on Israel on one day. The next day, he's lights out. And I'm supposed to believe that they made that decision that quickly? And you want me to go chase after Egyptian planes, which, by the way, have nothing to do with Israel. Okay. The Egyptian planes were never in Israel. They never were flying near the little sliver of land the size of New Jersey, 9 time zones away. So why am I supposed to be looking at them? Oh, by the way, you've not given me any data to make that claim. This is ridiculous, man. All right, let's go. Let it go.
Mm-hmm. Is why people are rightly examining her, right? You have every right to look at this woman and say, you aren't acting right. You are offering a bonus and a raise to Dan Flood. Where is your rage?
That he literally failed in protecting your husband. So why are you doing that?
And even if it was misplaced anger,
right?
Even if Erica was angry at everyone, we would expect that. And that's why I compared it to Vanessa Bryant. Her husband died in a real tragic accident.
Right.
She wanted everybody's head.
But that was an accident, though. I mean, this is the retardedness. She wants to keep conflating Charlie Kirk with all these other scenarios. Vanessa, Lady Kennedy, she's going to keep bringing these in. And that was an accident. Kobe Bryant was nothing in the ballpark of the same thing of Charlie Kirk at all.
She wanted to, and she did sue the helicopter company. She sued TMZ for publishing the photos. She didn't let anyone into her. Her speech, which I encourage people to go watch when they did a memorial for Kobe Bryant. There were no fireworks. They did it at Lakers. It was so personal. She told stories that nobody knew about him. And her general demeanor, wearing all black, there is a difference here that people are noticing. And you're not going to be able to gaslight us into thinking that all of that is normal.
Absolutely. So what really shocked?
Candace is a better widow. I'm going to say this again. Candace is a better widow. She wants you to know that. She aligns herself with women that she feels are paramounts of widowhood. Vanessa Bryant, Lady Kennedy, so on and so forth. But Erica Kirk is not like her, because Candace and the other widows are better widows than Erica. Erica is a bad widow. Erica has never told a fun story, personal stories about Charlie, none whatsoever. It's all been cutthroat, bloodthirsty, rise to the top. Even though nobody even knew who Erica Kirk was until Charlie Kirk died. Most people hadn't even seen a picture of her until she died. Until he died. Please forgive me. I said that wrong. But that's neither here nor there. Candace is a better widow, and she's trying to line herself up with better widows. These are great widows, and I'm in that camp of good widows. But she's married.
To me is that she never once showed up in court. Never once, Candace. You do not want to look at a person who supposedly killed your husband. Just look at him. I mean, just look at the guy. I'm not saying be angry.
It's funny. This woman is supposed to be a investigative journalist, and she doesn't know that trial hasn't started. She just said that Erica Kirk never showed up once in court. But it would be funny, though, if she did show up in court, they would say that she should be running TPUSA. When she's running TPUSA, she needs to step down and go home and be with the kids. Like, she can't win for losing. She just can't win. There's no way. And they're going to keep critiquing her. By the way, I did a video earlier today pointing out another widow whose husband was deleted in a very similar way to Charlie Kirk. And 4 days later, she was running his organization without skipping a beat. 4 days. And there was no, I mean, she was doing things that her husband would have been doing had he not been assassinated. It's crazy work, but she'll never bring her up. I noticed that she never brings up Coretta Scott King. She doesn't. I don't know if she knows it. Maybe she doesn't care, but she doesn't bring up Coretta Scott King. I don't know why she doesn't do that.
At him, we get it. You forgave him. We heard all. Yeah. So, but you don't want to look at him in court?
There's just a general aloofness, lack of involvement.
This is crazy.
And of course, the notorious Zoom calls. I mean, 6 days after your husband's assassination, you're giggling about emojis. How are you out of bed? How is it possible?
I'm a better widow. She's just a better widow, y'all. Let me back this up a little bit. She's just so much gooder than Erica. Erica is just not a good widow. Candace is such a better widow.
Zoom calls. I mean, 6 days after your husband's assassination, you're giggling about emojis. How are you out of bed? How is it possible that he was like a brother to me and he wasn't my husband? He wasn't the father of my children. And yet I couldn't get out of bed. I was destroyed. I couldn't. We're supposed to believe this is just the strength of a godly woman. That's what you guys are going to try to sell to us.
Yeah.
She's just so much better, man. Candace is just so much better than Erica. I mean, Erica just isn't on par with this woman who is just so broken. She's just so much better. Like she couldn't even get out of bed. I mean, she couldn't get out of bed, y'all. I mean, she couldn't get out of bed. The bed was just holding her down. Like it's the weight of 1,000 pillows. She's just so much better than Erica. Erica is just not as good. She just isn't good.
That's what you guys are going to try to sell to us.
Yeah, and the godly woman who's so strong, Candace, is somehow bothered by you and others.
Right.
I thought she was very strong.
The Drewski skit. That's what really upset her. Yeah. Tyler Robinson murdering her husband. We can get by. Yeah. We can forgive him. But Drewski mocking her.
That was it.
Wow. Yeah. No, that is. I do not forgive you, Drewski.
So
did she say that in the chat? Did Erica say that? That's what I'm saying. Like this is some grade A clownery right here. This is some grade A foolishness right here.
I will dive into Erica Kirk and I'll ask you a few things, but first I want to know who is Candace Owens? Because Candace, you know this, like they are like wolves. They are waiting for you to sleep up. So they can come out and, people, we told you this is who she was. She's a narcissist. She's this and that. I've heard this all. But you tell me and tell them now, who's Candace Owens? Truly.
This is going to be very interesting. All right, let's go. Let's see what you're going to say. Let's go.
Honestly, I think the best way to think of me is as my granddad's grandbaby. I am a lot like my grandfather was, and you can blame my granddad. He's not here anymore, sadly, but I was definitely shaped by my grandparents early in life, and my grandfather was just forthright. It was all about God and family, and we had to study the Bible growing up. We used to live in like a roach infested apartment, just didn't have a lot of money. Me and my sister shared a bedroom, tiny little bedroom, and had to take out the pots and the pans when I was young, and because they had to come spray for roaches. But of course, when you're young, you don't really process your lack of wealth or anything like that. Your kids can be happy anywhere.
This is a very interesting. Somebody said right here, Candace never talks about her family, her parents. It's always her granddad. Now, I'm not saying her granddad doesn't have validity, but I don't hear her ever say, hey, I'm Johnny and Betty's daughter. She says, I'm a daughter of I'm a child of my granddad, my granddad's child, whatever like that. Like, who are your parents? Like, do they not play any role at all? Do they not have any value in your life whatsoever? Just your granddad? Is this your maternal granddad, your paternal granddad? I don't know. But this is a very interesting. I want to hear how this goes. Let's go.
Kind of, it's one of the great things, but a grandfather, and we couldn't afford groceries, so they would come pay and bring groceries. And we spent a lot of time with them. And my grandfather, I think when I was 8 or when I was 7, turning 8, came to our apartment and just said, I don't want my grandbabies growing up like that. And so he moved us into their house, like a more middle-class house, still a small house. My parents were in the basement. Me and my sister were in the attic, you know, totally overfilled house, but it was better than roaches. It was great. It was fantastic. We felt like we made it. We loved our grandparents. And he just believed, he was conservative naturally. And I don't say conservative in a Republican way. I say conservative in the way that he just adored me and my sisters. I have 2 sisters. My brother had to be out mowing the lawn. He wanted us to be like, you know, in dresses, and he would like hold the door for us, and he would sort of wrap us into, if we did something wrong, he would lecture us in a prayer, like, you know, would start a prayer.
So I really want a body language, a psychologist, somebody to analyze this, because what I'm understanding and hearing this story is she's not telling us about us, telling us about her. She's telling us about her grandfather. She's telling us about her grandfather. And it's causing me to think, and again, I'm not a mental expert at all or anything of that nature, but it's telling me she doesn't want to talk about herself. She wants to talk about her grandfather. But the question was, tell us about you. That would be akin to like, hey, Jay Witt, tell me about you. And I go off and start telling you about my brother and my dad and my mom and maybe a little bit about the dangerous crew and my wife. But I never actually explained to you anything about me. Who am I? And I'm not getting that. I'm not getting anything about her.
And then lecture us. And he just, my grandmother and my grandfather are just they were the most fantastic people, and they definitely shaped me. But granddad was stubborn. Like, you know, he was stubborn. If you came for his family, if he felt like, you know, something wasn't right, you would hear from him. And so
that's how it's supposed to be.
So much like my grandfather, we even call it an Owens temper, because it like flares and then you're over it. So if my granddad and me, I remember one of our, before he started, he eventually got dementia, but this notorious like kind of last fight we had where he was yelling at me about, I don't know what it was, and he starts stomping on the carpet. He's like, this is my house. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're blah, blah, blah. And literally 10 minutes later, he's like, you know, hey, baby, do you want to just take me to get something to eat? I'm like, yeah, sure, granddad. You know, like flare up, flare down. Aww. And yeah, so they can blame my grandfather for that. I always say it was the way my grandparents loved and adored me. I think that really shaped me. And I was always different. My mother and my father would say that. I see it in my children now. And you can see which ones are just kind of, there's a beat to their own drum that they're going to, and that's probably how it's going to be.
It's amazing. Well, I'm glad you turned out the way you did. Guys, let's take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsors at linkkryptoira.com.
Okay, so I'm going to leave that. I should have trimmed this out. I didn't know. Okay, wait, back up right there. Yeah, I didn't learn anything about Candace. I learned about her grandfather has anger flare-ups, and there's that. But I don't know why. I want to know why you live with your grandparents. What happened with your mom and dad? Why do you never mention your mother and father? Again, like if you live with your mother and father, you could at least bring a little bit of notoriety to them and say, okay, yeah, I was living with my mother and father, mom Betty, dad Johnny, and this, that, and the third, and then granddad. And because of that, granddad had to come, and now you can talk about granddad. It just seems very interesting because, a lot of her story, if you follow some of her story, this doesn't comport, because remember, she was living with her boyfriend when she was age 14, but she just mentioned driving her grandfather to the store. So how were you living with your boyfriend when you were 14? That's what you told Russell Brand, at least. How were you living with your boyfriend when you were 14? And you said you were out on your own. So after you left from your boyfriend's, you never were back at home. And I'm assuming home is your grandfather. How is it that you were, help me understand what was going on. But see, this is the problem. The more she tells these stories, the more convoluted they become, and more, there's just little chinks in it. Or you could have just told us who you are.
Yeah, today that, people who are on the right side now are a sizable number, and that was not the case before. And I'm very thankful to your grandpa and grandparents.
I hope people are learning the code.
Oh,
because
yeah,
there is a code here where you see it. It's all about trying to humiliate you, to blackmail you into submission, to threaten you with finances, and to get you to agree to serve Lucifer in the process. And so many people just say yes to it. It's scary. The people that I came up with in politics, who Charlie came up with, who have turned their back on him, it sickens me. It genuinely sickens me. I can't explain to it. It makes me want to stomp on the
trust
carpet.
me, I know. And so something interesting was said by Larry Loomer. Larry
Loomer.
She tried to say, well, I don't understand why so many people are so scared of this, and how it went. I'm not going to repeat that anymore. But she said it right. They are scared. Candace, they are scared.
The amount of glazing that's going on here, I don't know, man. This should have been like OnlyFans or something. Like, ma'am, stop it. Nobody's scared of Candace Owens. And I agree with Laura Loomer that nobody's scared of Candace Owens. The problem is Candace Owens thinks, and as this woman is trying to get her mind wrapped around this false notion that people are afraid of her. Nobody cares. Nobody. That's why people make fun of her. So she's trying to big her up after she just kind of, try to be vulnerable, if you will, saying, they're trying to blackmail me and they're trying to bankrupt me, blah, blah, blah. But no, nobody cares.
And this is why they are all over the place. They are like watching your show like hawks. Maybe she makes a mistake. We are going to sue her. Like, no one is as watched as you by the enemies, and because she said it right. It was not maybe it was a Freudian slip, but they are terrified. Now, the question is, what kind of person is terrified?
I don't think she said that. No, ma'am. I don't believe Laura Loomer said that at all. But you can, if that helps you cope with it, because y'all clearly are snorting the cope. If that helps you out, then knock yourself out.
You scared?
No.
And neither am I. Mm-mm. You know why? Because I've got nothing to hide. And neither have you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have anything to hide. So the question is, what kind of person?
I bet she won't show those Egyptian plane data. I bet she won't show that French assassination plot. What about that email that she got? What about, I bet she won't show her phone logs between her and Mitch Snow. Oh, never mind. She has nothing to be afraid of. Sorry.
Should be that scared. And why Larry thinks that people are scared, right?
I think what they're fearful of, it's not me. They're fearful of their own exposure. That's what it is. And they're fearful of coming across someone who they know doesn't bend the knee to money. They tried it. If I bent the knee to money, I'd be at the Daily Wire, right?
Exactly.
And so that scares them. That's one of the mechanisms. The second thing is
no, because the Daily Wire didn't want you, Brenda. The Daily Wire. No, you wouldn't have been at the Daily Wire because they didn't want you. They let you go.
Okay, well, can we blackmail this person? Can we dig through their life? Can we find something? Actually, Laura did land upon a high school squabble that I got into. I don't care. I literally don't care. Do you want to talk about it on my podcast? I have zero shame about that. This is how it works. You go and you find something that happened when I was 17 years old, and you think that that's going to make me, bend the knee to having watched Charlie Kirk be assassinated?
Well, what was the purpose of what you've been doing to Erica? I mean, you went back to Erica's ancestor, to her mom's second husband's first wife. But you brought that up, but nobody can bring up something that happened when you were in high school. Okay. All right. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I got you now.
On TV. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's come on my podcast and talk about it. This is how the game works, and I'm not playing this. I am not bending the knee to Satan, okay? Because I'm fearful that you're going to dig up something about my family, about my grandparents, and I want people to learn this, right? I want people to learn this. You better faster be willing to come in front of the world and spill all your dirt than to buy yourself a ticket to hell, because that is where these people are going who did this to Charlie Kirk. I am not shutting up on this. I am not going to be distracted on this. The lawsuits is meant to be about financial duress.
That is an odd take on that. It's very interesting and I've brought this up before. I brought this up during the Macron case, the Macron story, which, by the way, is still going on, by the way. Candace is quick to condemn people to hell. She's quick to say somebody's going to go to hell and it's such like that nature, but she gives no remedy for that situation. Yeah, a sinner is going to go to hell. If he or she has not dealt with their sin at the foot of the cross, they will bust hell wide open. That is true. But Candace gives no remedy to that. It's almost as if she's excited about the idea that somebody's going to go to hell, not that Christ could save a sinner. She finds no joy, no satisfaction in the fact that it is God's good pleasure to save sinners. She doesn't care about that. She wants God to jettison people straight to hell with no remedy. I don't understand that. Like, if you yourself have been saved by Christ and pulled out of your own sinful state, why would you not want somebody else to also be pulled out of his or her sinful state? It just seems odd because, again, this woman professes to be a Christian. And if you are one who is a Catholic, this is the woman that represents your Catholicism. And so my question has always been, why is it that Candace doesn't care that these people are going to hell? Fine, you've pointed it out. You've made it very clear that they're going to go to hell. That's fair. I don't argue with you. They're busting hell wide open. What's the remedy?
She's now upped the game and is publishing my address everywhere. That's a psychological game. But I spent 2 years studying Sigmund Freud. Okay. I know how these tactics work. It's built to destroy you mentally. This is what Kanye, albeit he communicated it poorly, was trying to tell people about the Matrix, how everyone around him, he suddenly realized was fake. He woke up one day and realized his life was the Truman Show. And had a breakdown about it. And they just will call you crazy, you try to dig up things that are embarrassing. And that's why Kanye notoriously got up and started saying, I got liposuction. He did this thing in TMZ.
What is it not funny? Again, I tell y'all, like 95% of the stuff Candace says is projection. She says they dig up stuff out of your past. Like, ma'am, that's all you do. That is all you have done. You can't make this stuff up.
I was with him. I got liposuction, like I'm insecure. Actually, his first song is about that. All Falls Down. I don't know if you know Kanye music. I could take you on a Kanye tour like I did to Charlie, but there's a song, All Falls Down, and he just talks about how self-conscious he is. And he put it all out there for everyone to see before he was, they were able to blackmail him. That's what I'd rather be free. Yes, exactly. I had a pornography addiction. That's what he said. Yes, I did this. Right. My cousin stole my laptop and blackmailed me. I had to pay him. What he is doing is he's saying, I choose freedom. Yes. You can't embarrass me. I'd rather you embarrass me. I'd rather you say those things. This belongs to my life. None of us are perfect, but I'm not going to bend the knee to this. Yeah, that's the way to do it. So another question I wanted to ask you before we move on to TPUSA is Daily Wire situation. Yeah. So you left Daily Wire. Well, you didn't leave Daily Wire. They fired you. Got fired. Yes. And since then, even though they fired you, they just cannot chill. And it is like, honestly, I don't know how you do it because it already disturbs me and I'm not even in this situation. I'm like a bystander. Yeah. And I'm like, get over it, guys. Like, are you serious? So what's up with this? People will one day know every detail of what the Daily Wire put me and my family through. It is a cult masquerading as a business. I come actually from the private equity world. So I worked at a real business prior to getting into politics. I worked for 4 years at a private equity firm in New York City. And I cannot explain to you, this is a cult. You get fired, it's over. You can send it in an email. People don't build stages, gather around all of the other slaves and watch them hang you and prepare a video, as Jeremy Boring did, to show everybody. 15 minutes ago, we sent Candace an email and we fired her, and he starts playing clips of Nick Fuentes in this glorious town hall. That's not how you fire people to get started. Then to drag people through the court systems, and I am now vehemently against what is the arbitration, because now I understand what this is. It allows people who possess characteristics of sociopathic killers to just stalk you. They can just keep bringing you back into court over and over and over and over and over again over every little infraction that is meant to psychologically and financially wear you down. This is what the Daily Wire did to me. And when I say every little infraction, I mean, it can be in their head. It doesn't have to be real. They per your contract, can drag you into court. So that was the next 2 years of my life, was fighting them in arbitration court for things that I didn't do. I did not do these things. I will say the one thing I did do that I was guilty of, and actually, if we had made it to the hearing, I was going to admit, yeah, I did an episode defending Brett Cooper, and I stand by that. I don't need to lie to you. I owe you $300K because you harassed her, and I have a backbone. Yeah, I will gladly ding me. I will pay you $300K for standing up for a 22-year-old girl. And you know what? When this filing's over, I'm going to frame it and tell my kids that money's not everything.
So good. This is why people love you so much. You are just not only not afraid, but people can be stupidly not afraid and go for the wrong thing. No, you're like, no, there's much more things to this life than your own as money. And I love it. I love it.
I made a conscious decision because I was watching them begin to do to her, who she does not have, she's not involved in the Israel-Palestine debate. Like, it's just not what she does. She does cute pop culture stuff, but it's a cult. You're not allowed to leave. And so they will smear you and they want to destroy you on the way out. And so what I lived through with them, I'm actually happy now that we're at the end where people can see it publicly, because they're just now getting a glimpse when they brought back my channels, how weird that was. I'm like, you guys have not seen anything. Okay. You think that's weird? Them bringing back my social channels, doing, I think, Jeremy's show, we actually counted. He's done 19 episodes. 17 have been about me and Tucker. Like, okay.
Doggone it. All right, I was cooking too. All right, something I don't like about the Daily Wire. You have to commit to the bit. You got to commit to it. If you are going to do that bit of, uploading stuff onto Candace's old social media platforms and such like that, you got to commit to it and you got to do it and you can't stop. You got to keep going. You got to keep putting that content. You got to keep driving it, because it was pretty funny. The little plane thing and the Egyptian airplane, the little horse thing, the Egyptian airplane commercial, those were actually pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. So but you got to commit to it. You got to just keep doing it. You cannot stop, because they've been real hit or miss. And I feel like they've missed their opportunity, because the iron was hot. You had a lot of people talking about it. It was super interesting. Again, that stuff was hilarious. And then they stopped doing it. And then again, you kind of hit it and missing. You kind of uploading every now and then. They should have committed to the bit. Put somebody on it, like they're responsible for it. Every day you're putting stuff on there 2-3 times a day even. That's what should have happened. That's what I think should happen. But let me also bring up something. If you listen to Candace Owens long enough, you know the things that she's upset about. She's very, very upset about Erica. She's extremely, extremely upset about Daily Wire. You never hear her talk about PragerU. Now they're going to talk about Turning Point. We'll hear about them in a second. We know that she got beef with Turning Point. But you can she kind of shows her hand of what it is that's bothering her. And I think it's pretty interesting to hear. So let's keep this going. Let's go.
This is not a show.
These people are obsessed.
This is more stalking. And the same lawyers that sued me for those 2 years is now Brian Harpole's lawyer. I know how this works. I get it. I understand what is happening. Yeah. And if I have to be the person to demonstrate to people how this whole thing works, if my life has to go through it, I'm built for it. That's fine. Let the whole system crash and burn so that you can see it's all illusory. Absolutely. And that they can target and bankrupt and destroy people because they want to and they're a part of the machine. To me, this is like the Sentinels versus the human beings.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. They are obsessed to the point where I actually bet money with my friend that I was going to put out a post about Tucker. And I was like, just give it like a few hours. Lara Loomer will show up and do something. I won. I was like, this is how predictable you are. This is how predictable you are. I want money by betting on this. Like, are you crazy?
Wait, you just said you were going to do it. Let me back up. It might be her accent. Let me hear what she said. She said, I wanted to bet with my friends. Not that she did. Or maybe I misunderstood her.
You guys have not seen anything. Okay. You think that's weird. Them bringing back my social channels, doing, I think Jeremy's show, we actually counted. He's done 19 episodes. 17 have been about me and Tucker. Like, okay. This is not a show.
These people are obsessed.
This is more stalking. And the same lawyers that sued me for those 2 years is now Brian Harpole's lawyer. I know how this works. I get it. I understand what is happening.
Yeah.
And if I have to be the person to demonstrate to people how this whole thing works, if my life has to go through it, I'm built for it. That's fine. Let the whole system crash and burn so that you can see it's all illusory.
Absolutely.
And that they can target and bankrupt and destroy people because they want to and they're a part of the machine. To me, this is like the sentinels versus the human beings.
Yeah. And you're absolutely right. They are obsessed to the point where I actually bet money with my friend that I was going to put out.
No, she did bet money. She said, I did bet money with my friend. Okay.
A post about Tucker. And I was like, just give it like a few hours. Lara Loomer will show up and do something. I won. I was like, this is how predictable you got. This is how predictable you are. I want money by betting on this. Like, are you crazy?
They hate Tucker with the same viciousness. And that started when I was at the Daily Wire. So I was aware. It was very strange because I've always liked Tucker. Tucker has always been good to me. And I mean, for years, before I worked for the Daily Wire, I was doing Tucker Carlson's show weekly, like every Tuesday. I kind of had to be on there. And Tucker, I forgot, Fox News will do this thing where they put people on ice. You can get like temporarily banned for something. And there was something I said that they put me temporarily, like banned me from Fox News. Tucker Carlson, don't care. He's the number one show. I'll have her every time. He like stood by me. And so little things like that, you get to see someone's character. I didn't know him personally. I actually met Tucker Carlson. I have the video. Charlie introduced me to him, and I was sent.
Another thing that Candace does very, very well, and I hate to give credit for this, but it's diabolical. She'll tell a story and she'll say, you know, there's this thing in the HOA where they can just give you a fine, and you know, we just write the check and we just take the fine and keep it moving and go on and just talk. She'll say something as if it's fact. There's no, again, they'll just temporarily ban you. What are you talking about? Like, what is the evidence that you were temporarily banned or shadow banned is I think really what she's trying to say. She'll just mention it and throw it out there and then make Tucker Carlson the hero. But we don't actually know that that story happened. And I don't think anybody should take anything that Candace says as true without any evidence. Like, I don't know what's the reason. Why do you take her for truth as a truth teller without evidence to that fact? Like, if she's going to say that, then she's going to have to say like, hey, I know that I was banned. Here's an email from, you know, Johnny Management. Johnny Management said, we can't have Candace on. Here's a text message from Tucker saying, skip you. I'm going to have her on because I got the number one show, blah, blah, blah. They're like, okay, then I'll be like, hey, no problem. But she never does that. She always just throws something out as if it's reality, as if it's true, and then just scoots on by without any evidence to it at all. She does it a lot. Let's go.
To Tucker actually the other week as I was going through my videos with Charlie, and I was like, only person I want to meet in politics is Tucker Carlson. And so he filmed it and he's like, hey, Tucker, want you to meet Candace. So that's who he is behind the scenes, where if he thinks that something is wrong or that they've done you wrong, he's willing to stand up to the big guy, right? He's standing up to Fox News and saying, I'm going to still have Candace on my show every Tuesday. I don't care if you don't like what she said about COVID or whatever it was, prevailing narrative of the day. But they have similarly been obsessed with Tucker, and I don't know why. Tucker has done nothing to
because
them.
Both of you are good. I mean, look at this, Candace. You have everything that a person should strive forward, right? Like, and look for. Like, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're young, you have business, you're happy.
Yeah.
And
would you say that, and for real, but let's be honest. Would you say that Candace comes across as happy? Sure, she's a wife, a mother, she got a business, all that kind of stuff like that. But, you know, she's using the word happy as if that's like the foundation and the glue that brings all those other things together. Does she come across to you as happy at all? I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be funny. In the chat, does she come across to you as happy and having some kind of joy in the fact that she has a husband and kids and she's a wife, she's a mother, she's young, she's got a business? Does that seem like something that brings her joy, in the words of Anita Baker? I don't think so. Wait, what? Is there any way you could get a cat? Oh my gosh, Charlie's name out of her mouth. No, oh my gosh. The number, when the video is over with, Evie, I can go back. Actually, I can pull up the transcript and I can count how many times it's mentioned in between the two of them. I can't. I'll tell you how many it was between the two of them. How about that? I'll do that real quick. Oh, sorry. Go.
Do you have your faith? Now, the same goes with Tucker. Tucker is a guy who never cheated on his wife, who's not going to. And I think that kills Lara Loomer. But, it's just how it is. And he's got everything a normal American should dream for and strive for and all of that. And I think they are jealous. And they are jealous that you guys are loved by people and they are not.
Yeah.
They're not.
And I think it's also Tucker, and why I've always been a fan of his, is when he sort of told his whole story on Theo Von about his alcoholism and like his wake up moment of realizing they hate that. They hate that. They want you to try to pretend that you are perfect and you've never made a mistake. No, you've made mistakes. Like you have I'm like, guys, we can go back and we can find the files.
But when Erica admits her mistakes, there's no grace at all. That's some wild work right there. But again, this woman does not, this is not equal weights and measures. Let it go.
If you want the Candace files, I'll give them to you. That's what I'm doing on my podcast every day. I'm not perfect. And by the way, I'm going to make more mistakes. There is going to be, I right now have 4 children in this world. They're going to then be teenagers. They're going to make mistakes, and I'm going to do my best to protect them and guide them.
4 children? What?
4
With a gay man?
Yeah, with a gay homosexual gangster, mind you. It's a lot happening. He's both a rap gangster, gun brandishing. Yeah, but he also is gay, Oxford. It's a lot going on.
He just has 4 kids, though, but
it's always the immediate attack. They go for the family because they know that that's where the strength is. Like, that's where the rock is. And when your family is good and... my husband and I we love being parents. We didn't know that we would love it this much. You never know. And children are just such a joy. They're so.
She mentioned Charlie's name is mentioned 82 times in this video. I'll also look up how many times Erica's mentioned. I'm sure it's going to be somewhere very close to that. They say Erica none. I think that's wrong, but. This is very interesting. Let's, you know what? She might be mentioning her family a little bit, y'all.
Funny. I mean, I could tell you every day the things that come out of their mouths as they're grappling with things. And a lot of these people don't know that joy because they're searching for something that is so empty. Like trying to get into Mar-a-Lago. Like, wow, guys, it's really kind of gaudy. The food's not that good. Right? I remember the first time I was like, yeah, this is it. And then I got there and I was like, it's like, all right.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you. And that's why they're so miserable. And most of their work, instead of actually working on something meaningful, is trashing others. And people started saying it. That's why Daily Wire is losing people because they don't want to watch this every single day. They are sick of it. So real quick, before we move on, when you first met Ben Shapiro, what was your reaction? What was your analysis of the person?
I first met him with Charlie. It was another one of my favorite Charlie moments. Okay. I shared it, but it was... any person when they first got into the industry around that time, you actually looked up to Ben because this was when he was going viral with the clips and Charlie and I were just started. So we had all these messages that I could show you. We were like, oh, it's so cool. Like Ben, I was like, I think Ben followed me on something. I don't remember what it was. And then like every person in politics, you get to know Ben and that things change very quickly. And so it was the Kanye tweet. Anything up before April 2018, we were like, great, it'd be great to work with Ben. And then after the Kanye tweet, he's a very jealous and envious person. And rather than going, how can we work together? How do we make things bigger? You end up finding out that he's working behind the scenes and telling people not to work with you. And this is going to be a mistake. And she shouldn't be speaking to Kanye. And you don't know what Kanye means to people like me. You don't pretend to understand the culture at all. You don't understand, I wouldn't be in this circumstance if it wasn't for Kanye's music giving me the courage to know there are so many kids growing up in crappy communities that are hearing someone say, you can break through, you can break through, you can be your own Superman and get out of this thing. And
isn't it funny? She doesn't want Ben to speak for Kanye, but she has absolutely no problem speaking on behalf of Charlie Kirk. That's some crazy work. Ben and Kanye are still alive and they're speaking from a business aspect. Charlie Kirk is not alive. There's no evidence that they were friends in the last 5 years, but she can speak for him. That's wild work, y'all. This is some wild work.
And he's just like he is, nag and
controlling, very controlling.
And he messaged Charlie and told him not to deal with me. I had showed the messages on my show, and Charlie was like, he thinks like you're his slave. LOL, when I see Charlie again in heaven, I'm gonna be like, bro. We had no idea how right you were when you sent that message.
Wow.
I'm like a slave who escaped his plantation is how I feel right now. And they just got there on horseback trying to find me. You know what I mean? It's been like years. And I'm like, man, I think you just gotta let this slave go. I think she's fully up north, you know? But
embarrassing. Carlos decline.
After that Ben did a flip. And so, but then he sort of noticed that he couldn't kind of stop the rise. And so Charlie and I did Ben's show. We were in LA in Sherman Oaks, which is where Daily Wire used to be based. And I remember Charlie was just like, okay, when we get there, when we take a photo with him, I'm going to stand up real tall and puff out my chest. So he looks super extra small. And I was like, do it. I said, do it. And the photo is hilarious.
Oh
that was who Charlie was. Like, he was never like, we're going to be super mean or try to ruin this guy's life. We're going to get this photo so we always remember that we triumphed him in this room. And then we went on the show.
That actually doesn't make sense, because at that point, Charlie Kirk had already fired Candace Owens from Turning Point. Then she went to Daily Wire. I'm sorry. Then she went to PragerU. Then she went to Daily Wire. Like, something's wrong with that timeline. You know, Candace likes to talk about timelines. That doesn't make sense. Then that means that Candace wouldn't work for Daily Wire after all this happened. Or all this happened while she was still working at Turning Point, and Charlie was later on going to turn around and fire her. That doesn't make sense. No, that story, that's what I'm saying. Like, the longer you allow Candace to talk, the more you see that there's a problem with this story, and this narrative just doesn't line up. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
He's just a jokester. He was totally a jokester like that.
Ben is the same way with everything. I mean, look at what he does with the nation. He tells them what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. It's like, who put you in charge exactly? Mm-hmm. Who are you, dude?
The nation.
Like, he's telling American people, well, you are wrong to want good for America because Israel comes first. He never said exactly these words, but that's where he's going. Like, we support Israel. We should support Israel. Who are you to decide who American people should support? Like, who are you?
It's really operative. And I think that, and you can fact check this, but I was told when I was at the Daily Wire that his uncle is the one that sold all the uranium to Israel, stole all of our uranium. Zalman Shapiro. He ended up not being charged for it because I think he pled anti-Semitism in court or something, but he did sell all of our uranium. So this is who and what his family is, and this is what he was raised to believe, that he's chosen. And so I think,
don't you believe, is it a lap too far to believe that if anything that Candace says was actually real? He declared anti-Semitism in court, and he got out of international intergalactic charges, right? Don't you know, if she could prove that, wouldn't she be showing it? I'm just trying to say, y'all. I mean, this is the same woman that just showed us a made-up email that she wrote out. She admitted she wrote it out. At what point do we stop taking her seriously? Like, she just said that. She just said that his uncle stole all the uranium. He got brought up in court, yelled anti-Semitism, and it was done. Like, for real? Really? Okay. How does that work? Shout out. Yeah, I gotta take a second. Because we got some great super chats. Real quick. Shout out to SC Dog. I'm saved by the blood of Jesus. But if Candace ever told me I was going to hell, I'd tell her, I'll see you there. Shout out. Thank you so much for the very kind 5. He says, if Candace is happy, I'm deliriously ecstatic. I mean, really. She doesn't seem like somebody who has any joy in her life. The things that are going on in her life are not things that bring her joy. That's just my observation. Thank you so much, Kristen. Right here with the 5 says, if Candace was happy, she'd stop attacking and harassing Erica and live her life. Will you be live streaming the trial, debunking Candace's lies simultaneously? Absolutely. My goal, my plan is to stream the Tyler Robinson case. Absolutely. We got a lot of things coming up before then, but that's my plan. Okay, let's get back over here to this thing, Jason. What we got? We're going. Let's go.
When you are raised with that philosophy of thinking that everything is yours, that you should be allowed to steal and rape and kill and take people's property because you're promised something, chosen by whom? Satan.
Exactly. Yeah.
Obviously, if you can do this to children and you genuinely believe that you have a separate, as the Talmud instructs, that you have a separate spirit. They're animals, you're not. By the way, I wouldn't treat an animal as they treat the Palestinians, just to be clear.
Right.
And actually, when you watch their behavior, the deep irony is they can't think through, no, you have the spirit of animals. Look at you. Look at what you're doing. And not even an animal would do the things that you are doing right now in Palestine. They have some sort of reverence. That
I got to do this. I got to do this, y'all. And please, if you are, and hear me. I am not arguing that Israel is not valid, that I believe that Israel has the right to exist. Absolutely. We don't need a two-state solution. Israel has the right to exist, and they got the right to bang people on the head if they bother them. They got the right to defend themselves. Absolutely. But the fact that these people will sit there and tell you that they are America first, we're all about America, 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 but the first thing out of their pie hole is something about Israel is crazy work. I'm going to go back to what I said originally. These people worship Israel. These people love Israel more than Israel loves Israel, because that's all they talk about. Prove me wrong. Show me something here, United States wide, that you're actually concerned about that doesn't rhyme with Jews, Israel, Zion, or anything, a sliver of land the size of New Jersey, 9 time zones away. Show me, because I never hear you talk about it. All I hear you talk about is Zion. These people love Jews more than Jews love Jews. That's crazy work. I mean, the Jews, do you feel the love? If you're a Jewish person, do you feel the hug? Do you feel it? Because these people love y'all. These people love you. They love you. They love you. You will never hear me talk about somebody that I don't love. I pray for Candace. I do pray for her. I do pray that she gets convicted and repents of her sins and turns to Christ and trusting faith. You never hear me talk about many people that hate me or that I might hate. You don't hear me talk about them. You know why? Because I don't love these people. But Candace and these people love Jews. They love Jews. Prove me wrong.
That is ingrained in them as creatures that were created by God. And so they can't work through, the people that support Israel can't work through the fact that you possess the spirit of animals, because look at what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, facts are facts. And Ben Shapiro might say, like, well,
I've heard her more clearly articulate Jewish Talmudic understanding than I've heard her ever explain Catholic understanding. I'm just saying, I'm just pointing it out, man. She loves Jews. Candace hearts Jews. And Gary Melton, by the way. Shout out to Gary Melton.
I'm not doing it, I'm sitting in a studio and whatever. Well, you're supporting the people who are doing when you have the power to stop them, and that's almost worse.
He hosted Bibi Netanyahu on his show and will,
criminal,
without blinking, an actual criminal, without blinking, will say that Tucker Carlson's a monster.
Yeah.
Who has Tucker Carlson ever hurt? He will say Nick Fuentes is the worst thing that ever happened. How many people has Nick Fuentes killed?
Nobody.
Okay, so I think
how many people has Ben Shapiro killed? Like, what are we dealing here? Like, how many people has been killed? Like, ma'am, are you listening to yourself? This is the dumb brain rot stuff that we're talking about.
Yahoo is worse than Nick Fuentes. Does that like generally make sense to the population?
Absolutely.
That the bigger threat would be the person that's now bombing Lebanon and stealing. They constantly steal and then tell us that they're more successful because they're better at business. You're thieves. We're thieves and murderers trying to convince us that it's righteous murder and righteous theft.
Right. And doing it poorly.
So that's what you will inherit. If you and to be clear, there are a ton of Jews who do not support this. And the numbers are now astounding of people that email me, rabbis that email me, Jewish Americans that watch this show. I think early on they were like, oh no, this is about not wanting the Holocaust to happen. They now see what's happening and they want nothing to do with that.
And Israel does not represent all Jews. I worked with a Jew.
But it's funny, Israel does not represent all Jews. Then why does these small sliver of Jews represent all Israel? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, I'm gonna do something different. All right, we got to bring this in. Shout out to Jen, the producer over here on X. Jen, for the last couple of days, has been really misbehaving. She has concluded that Candace has an affection for she has an affection for Paramount Tactical. And so she has been putting up these pictures of Candace. The green beret is being mean to me. Anyway, I think it's hilarious. Shout out to Jen, the producer over there at Paramount Tactical, misbehaving over there. Oh, there's another good one. Where'd that picture go? Oh, here it is right here. Oh, shoot. The green beret is being mean to me. Hold on. There's some other really, where are these pictures at? How do we do this? All right, I'll do it like this. I wonder what Gary's doing right now. Somehow or another, Candace has removed her wedding picture and has put Gary's back there. Y'all, I'm trying to tell you, man. She loves him. She loves him. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that. Oh, Gary, you're so smart. Dangerous Liberty Podcast. Got his picture. Look at her. She's in love with Gary. Oh, look at this one right here. Don't let George see this one. I love Gary. She got Candace Melton. Uh-oh. Shout out to Jen, the producer. Jen, the producer, is out of control. I don't know. This picture right here, that should be a thumbnail. Oh, I didn't even see it. Gary's right there too. Shout out. Okay, let's get back on task. All right, Jason, get back on task. Okay, come on.
Boss was a Jew. And Candace, I can explain, well, actually, I can't explain what was going on in his head. He never once told me to shut up. Like when I started talking about Israel and Palestine and all this, I know that every single time we had a meeting, he was so uncomfortable because he's Israeli Jew. And he's like, he wants me to talk, but at the same time, he's got all this like family and distant family and all this. And I just felt sorry for him. I told him, like, I just feel so sorry for you. Right. I know you're, on the right side. And, we avoided this conversation, but his support was not like, oh, Elizabeth, go talk about it. His support was, I'm going to shut up.
Right. And I think it's really also shown a light on Christian Zionists.
Yeah.
When we're talking about...
I can't stand you. Shut up, Candace. So one of the problems that we have as the highly melanated community, by the way, I am talking about Black people. Okay, I'm talking about Black people. Black people as a group have a high level of insecurity. They're insecure about our own ability to do great work in our own communities. And because of that, because we're insecure, and a lot of them are insecure, they try to overcompensate. So they'll they're kings and they're queens, and they grandize themselves to the point of lunacy, or they try to over certify themselves. You'll see somebody with 18 PhDs or something of that nature to try to make themselves feel valid. They got to feel valid, if you will. But then there's another example of they are always obsessing over what the white person is doing. The reason Ray shot little Raekwon is because there's a white man over there 9 blocks over that was living his life. Because of that white man, that's why Raekwon shot little John. And they're forever pointing the finger at somebody who's less melanated because they don't want to admit the fact that we have a problem that we have to deal with. It's an insecurity issue that manifests itself in many different ways. I bring that up because this is exactly what we're listening to right here with Candace and this woman here. They're insecure in themselves, so they have to keep bringing up Jews. They got to keep bringing up Israel. They got to keep bringing up Zion because they can't deal with the fact that we have issues that we have to deal with, and you can't point your finger at anybody else. So the best you can do is actually deal with your issue, or you can point your finger at somebody. Watch this.
Zionists, let's be clear, the majority of them are Christian in America. And I'm sickened by them. I am sickened by the idea that I ever supported or platformed Ali Stuckey, right? As she is lecturing people perpetually and turning a blind eye to what is happening in Israel because she is convinced of some promise that, like, I don't know, she's going to be top goyim or something like that, top goy.
That's so funny. And the bad thing is that Candace is giving you no scriptural basis for her argumentation. Allie Beth Stuckey, shout out to Allie Beth. Allie Beth Stuckey is doing her very best to be a biblical, responsible Christian woman here in the United States. I want to make sure we make that point clear because that's where she's missing it. Candace doesn't care about what's happening in the United States. She's only worried about what's going on in what she calls Palestine. That's all she cares about. She doesn't care about what's going on here, whereas Allie Beth is here talking about what's going on here, and Candace doesn't like that because, as I said before, she's insecure because she knows she can't fix those problems because her ideology, her theology, her doctrine can't solve problems, doesn't fix the sin issue. So the best that she can do is, as I told you before, over-aggrandize themselves. So this is the proverbial, she's a king, she's a queen. She's put herself on this pedestal. She's so great. She's so wonderful. She's worrying about people on the other side of the world, which, by the way, doesn't fix anything. She's not going to go over there to resolve one issue that's going on in what's called Palestine or the Middle East. So instead, she'll sit comfortable right here in the United States, do nothing here in the United States, but talk about what's going on over there and do nothing over there either. She's a queen, kings and queens.
And,
queens.
You sit here and you lecture people about abortion being wrong, murdering children being, but you go, but if it happens here, it's fine. Okay, now we're in Lebanon.
Yeah, and now it's okay to murder a 40-year-old. It's fine, because now it's for a cause, whatever that cause might be. Right? It's just,
see, that's what I'm saying. Like that's good and well. Allie Beth has not said anything that woman just said. She ain't said nothing like that. And this little woman right here, she just jumps in and starts co-signing, and she know good and well she don't know what she's talking about. Elizabeth don't know what she's talking about. Candace knows that she's making that up. Allie Beth has never said what she's saying. Never. But, let it go.
this was ridiculous. But okay, real quick, this is a deep question, but you can take it wherever you want. I always thought that Netanyahu was its own puppet in a way. And the real control was always here in the United States with the Zionists, like Christian Zionists and some Jewish Zionists, who knows. And because take Adelson or take Larry Fink or take all these people who are supporting this cause from afar, they're all here in the United States. Mm-hmm. None of them choose to go and live in Israel. Mm-hmm. So the power is here. And even if, tomorrow Israel doesn't exist anymore, they are still just fine. They're going to survive. So do you think that it's driven by the deep state in here, what's going on with Israel? And Israel is just a fakely put together state as a tool, to carry out whatever they, need?
No, I think that their project is heavenly Jerusalem. I think greater Israel is the plan, and they want to expand and their borders from all the way through to Ukraine. Ukraine is a piece of this puzzle, an obvious piece of this puzzle. There's no war between Ukraine and Russia. There is a genocide of Christians taking place. They're just going to mass murder the Ukrainian Christians, and they're going to move other people in. That's the most obvious thing to me. There's no sense to what they're doing. It's just like, how are we going to do a genocide and make it look like it's not, well, we're going to sign them up for war. That they know they're just going to kill a bunch of them, and then we're going to move in our people. And that is what makes the most sense, because what is today modern Ukraine used to be a very Jewish area. I mean, we could get into like Russian history and the Pale of Settlement.
Oh yeah, and you're not the only one who said that. There was actually a Russian politician who predicted this, who said, "Well, Ukraine will be prepped for the Jews, for this cabal that's operating behind the scenes." So yes, I agree with you.
Absolutely. Keep going. Yeah. So that's the way that I see it. So in terms of Israel, I think you kind of have to go back to what was happening upon the European continent before that. And you got to go backwards to why this group of people who are now in Israel were being kicked out of so many nations. And I've been begging people who are studious and Jewish to look into this massive movement where they had a false messiah named Jacob Frank. Then this gets into Sabbatianism and Frankism. That is the key to everything. This is not Judaism at all. It's mystic Judaism, if you will. If you could say it's Jewish mystical tradition. Get into what Sigmund Freud was. This is where you're getting their initiation rites, the harming of children. This is not. It's mysticism. Full stop. And studying Sabbatianism and Frankism made me understand what was happening. You had Frankists who were at war, by the way, with Jews. no one wants to speak about this. This is actually what was happening in Poland. They were at war with the Jews because they said this is an old philosophy, the Torah, we don't want to follow the old law. And in comes this radical Jacob Frank. And once you begin looking into Jacob Frank, you will fully understand the picture. I believe, and with a lot of evidence, that Theodore Herzl was himself a Frankist. I don't believe his children committed suicide. He likely raped them, is what my research shows me, because through Sigmund Freud sent him help for one of his daughters or whatever on how to deal with her. But what Sigmund Freud was doing, and which has been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, his contribution was gaslighting kids who were actually being raped by their parents. Okay. And this was a part of the Frankist ceremonial rites, like to initiate, you had to show yourself that you could violate the law. It's a form of Gnosticism, right? You have to plunge yourself and show yourself that everything is a figment. There's no such a thing as like good and evil. So you have to plunge yourselves into the depths, and then they believe that from unholiness, holiness will arise. And if that,
it's funny because she, as I'm going to say again, Candace has explained Frankism more, Judaism more than her own alleged Catholic faith. I just want to make sure that that's clear and put out there. She's never explained, like, how does one become a Catholic? Explain that. But she doesn't, because I don't think she actually knows. I really don't think she knows at all. And I don't think she cares. But I just want to point that out. Let's go.
Sounds crazy to you and new to you, you should look into Jacob Frank. None of this is made up. This is all very real. There's no doubt that I'm talking about Sigmund Freud, practiced Sabbatianism. So when I see what is happening, I believe that these Frankists have been masquerading as Jews. They've mixed in amongst Jews for a very long time. Infiltrations happen. I want to be clear. They also infiltrated the Catholic Church. Jacob Frank mass converted when they were at warring with the Jews, the Torah Jews in Poland. They said, "Oh, protect us from the Jews. We'll convert to Christianity." And the bishop at that time mass converted a bunch of the Frankist community into Catholics. Right? Yeah. Very important part of Catholic history. Catholics need to trace where those families went that mass converted into Catholicism. Jacob Frank became a baron. He was based in Offenbach, Germany. He was given his own castle. The rumor, and there's a lot of evidence to support the rumor, is that he was being funded by the Rothschilds. Okay. And the Montefiore family, the Rothschilds, they moved into each other, the banking dynasty that were bankrolling him. And one of the strategies, though,
So I'm going to let this play, but let me somebody said just making this up. I don't know. But this is something I'm just going to throw this out here. Some time ago, Candace had the opportunity to talk about herself. And you notice what she did. She went on this lyrical Rube Goldberg machine about her grandfather. Like, it was all over the place. It was everywhere, right? And I noticed this about Candace, and feel free to let me know what y'all think. Is it not odd that Candace can tell you about everybody else's family except her own? She will go to those lengths to tell you about other people's families and their history, but she won't tell you about her own like that. She won't give you her own. We don't know her grandfather's name. We don't know what he did. We don't know where he lived. We know none of that stuff, but we know a whole bunch about Frank now. And what he did to his kids, allegedly. He was a baron, he had a castle. We know all this stuff about Frank. We know nothing about her family. And I think it's odd that she never tells you about her own family. Never. But she's going deep in the weeds about other people's families that have no relevancy to her own existence. Just seems odd to me. I don't know if you notice that. Shout out in the chat if you've noticed that. But let's get this done. I'm going to let her play.
Tenets of Frankism is to false convert. They practice false converting into other faiths. So it becomes increasingly difficult to track who these people are who are wearing. They're pretending that they are Muslim. They're pretending that they are Jewish, and they're pretending that they are Christian.
Infiltration was their best skill. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you. And I have not studied Frankism, but I studied other secret societies. And what you are telling me right now is exactly Exactly
they worship
how
all.
yes.
Yeah, they worship all.
So for a person out there listening right now, and if they've never done any research in this, you just have to either go and do it yourself or take our word for it, because I worked for like 6 years on Kennedy assassination, and it took me in places I never thought. And so you're absolutely right.
They established Hollywood.
Yes.
Right. So it's a different name of who's leading it because they believe in reincarnation. But like, this is what Aleister Crowley was. Aleister Crowley, this is the occult. It is full stop occult worship. And I'm so glad that people are beginning to have this conversation today, because if you don't understand the theology, it seems crazy to you. It didn't seem crazy to me at all.
I got a question for you. Okay, fine. This would be my question to Candace, to Cantifa people, Candace adjacent folk. Okay, fine. All right, you got me. Everything you said is true. Everything. My neighbor, Jim Bob, next door, is one of those people. I know it. He's one of the families that you're referring to. What can I do to help him out? That's the question I have for Candace, for Cantifa, Candace adjacent people, and so forth. What do I do? These people, what do I do? What do I do now that I know that what you said is true about, they're the Rothschilds, they're the Franks, whatever. What do I do with them? What do I do to help them out? And oh, by the way, I'm a Christian, by the way. So what do I do, Candace? What do I do? I guarantee she'll have no answer. You don't like Jim Bob? My neighbors, hey, leave Jim Bob Frank alone. He got 3 first names. Leave Jim Bob Frank alone. Stop it. Don't be messing with Jim Bob. I just told you he's a mean person. He's a bad person. I'll send him over there and he'll throw gerbils at you or something. But I would love for her to explain, like, what's the gospel, Candace? I'd like to hear what it is. I think it would be very entertaining. And I say that as tongue-in-cheek as I can.
Right.
When the young women who testified in the Knesset were talking about the ritualistic abuse that happened to them when they were 3 years old in Israel. It's just now become a big issue in Israel. That they're saying that these rabbis are taking them into, I think, the woods, the forest, and performing these rapes and initiations at the age of 3. And you can go watch their testimonies that this is real. Like I said, it's happening now. And for the first time, it seems like the Knesset is taking it seriously because too many people are saying that it's happening. That might sound crazy to you if you haven't studied Frankism or studied the occult. But that's all very real. And if people don't tether themselves to that reality and they allow people to keep saying that what is actually a religion is a conspiracy, we are never going to be able to wake up to what happened. It is why I discussed the elements of Charlie's assassination as being occult ritualistic. That's obvious to me. There are way too many themes of human sex trafficking in the story. It doesn't make sense that everybody is involved in charity of human sex trafficking charity. Like, all of your friends do this. All of your friends are involved in human sex trafficking charity. Something doesn't smell right. So I very much believe that Israel as the modern state was created by the Rothschilds as a safe haven for a lot of these demonic occult Bolsheviks that came in. I could, don't even get me started on the Bolsheviks and who they were, and what they were. They were not Russian. They hated Russians. They hated Christians, and they mass murdered tens and millions of Christians.
Well, they killed their king. Let's
the Tsar. Yes.
They killed the Tsar. They extorted Russian. They took Russian gold, gave it.
Yeah, entertain me real quick. Entertain me in the chat. What we've been listening to for the last too many minutes. How does that deal with anything going on here in the United States right now? Please let me know. Please let me know. How does any of this fix any problem that we have in the United States? From gas prices to borders to drug violence to homelessness. How does any of that resolve any of the problems going on in the United States? And help me understand how any of that fixes any of this. It does nothing. But see, Candace maximizes her time to talk about that kind of stuff. And again, she's going to tell you with a straight face that she's America first. That's what she's going to tell you, or want you to at least believe. And I don't believe that at all.
To Europe, yes.
They steal. They constantly steal, and then they reemerge somewhere else, and they wear a different mask.
You know what's crazy? People have no problem believing what happened with Epstein. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay. Okay, so yeah, that's true, because government also admitted and said that, a bunch of people were raped and all of this. And, okay, so this part of history is not true, but that is, and you have no problem imagining that that could be true, but you have a problem imagining that the same thing is going on with other kind of clans and groups. Like, where is the logic here? It just, it escapes me.
Well, it really goes back to the time of Egypt. And so when you even look at the construction, the symbolism is everything to them. It is everything to them.
Everything, yes.
And so when you look at the construction of the little Egyptian type temple that he had on his island, that's a cult. And so I know it's actually from a movie, but when Kevin Spacey says the greatest trick the devil ever played was convincing people that he didn't exist, that's American Western society today. Ancient civilizations always understood this stuff was real. And for thousands and thousands of years, people understood that this was real, that spiritual battles were real. What they did post-World War II was turn us into this sort of modern, fickle, surface society that thinks that, oh, that's just for the movies. Oh, witches are for dress up. Oh, spells. Everything's hocus pocus. No, it's not hocus pocus. This stuff is very real. These people practice occult worship. They practice ceremonies. And you are not going to be safe or prepared to begin to comprehend what we are dealing with and what we are fighting unless you begin to pierce that layer and to look at how long these ancient practices have been happening all the way through to our society
always mocking
today.
God.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Like always mocking God. If they are such a fairy tale and nothing's to it, why did the French government or whoever organized the Olympics felt the need to mock Jesus? If none of this is real, do something else. I don't know, get a ballerina to perform or something. Why do you feel like you need to mock Jesus exactly the way you did?
It has to happen that way because it's all about the revelation of the method. These people are psychopaths, right? They are truly psychopaths. And a part of, and I've now got tons of people who have sent me older Freemason Bibles. I wish I could just take another 2 years to study Freemasonry now that I know that all of these people were Freemasons like Sigmund Freud, B'nai B'rith. But they have to kind of wink at you and let you know they're doing it. It's part of the trick is then gaslighting you about the fact that it happened and going, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, you believe that 33 could mean something? Yeah, I actually know 33 degree Freemasonry is something. And then what did...
Okay, so this is very interesting. I'm going to back this up. Candace, and I've mentioned this before, Candace is living out the book Chaos. It was one of her book club books early on in the Macron story. And she's literally living it out. She's doing the book Chaos. And this is very interesting what she just said. Listen to what she said about the revealing the method. I hope I'm backed up enough.
For thousands and thousands of years, people understood that this was real, that spiritual battles were real. What they did post-World War II was turn us into this sort of modern, fickle, surface society that thinks that, oh, that's just for the movies. Oh, witches are for dress up. Oh, spells. Everything's hocus pocus. No, it's not hocus pocus. This stuff is very real. These people practice occult worship. They practice ceremonies. And you are not going to be safe or prepared to begin to comprehend what we are dealing with and what we are fighting unless you begin to pierce that layer and to look at how long these ancient practices have been happening all the way through to our society
always mocking
today.
God, like always mocking God. If they are such a fairy tale and nothing's to it, why did the French government or whoever organized the Olympics felt the need to mock Jesus? If none of this is real, do something else. I don't know, get a ballerina to perform or something. Why do you feel like you need to mock Jesus exactly the way you did?
Has to happen that way because it's all about the revelation of the method. These people are psychopaths, right? They are truly psychopaths. And a part of, and I've now got tons of people who have sent me older Freemason Bibles. I wish I could just take another 2 years to study Freemasonry now that I know that all of these people were Freemasons like Sigmund Freud, B'nai B'rith. But they have to kind of wink at you and let you know they're doing it. It's part of the trick is then gaslighting you about the fact that it happened and going, what are you talking about? Oh my gosh, you believe that 33 could mean something? Yeah, I actually know 33 degree Freemasonry is something. And then what did we have happen right after they mocked it? France had the case that's going on right now where there was an international assassin squad linked to a Freemason lodge. Yes, people, it happens. It's going on, and linked to their government. This is all real, and linked to their military. And I go, oh, when Candace said it on her show, it was completely crazy. Fast forward a month, and now it's making its way through the courts.
Absolutely.
It's never stopped. It relies on your stupidity. It relies on your trigger reaction when you hear conspiracy. That was CIA term that they developed post JFK.
Of course. Conspiracy theories.
Okay, let me stop for a second. Candace just gave up the plot. Candace just told you, like I said, you got to be committed to the bit. She's committed to it. She's telling you that these people, they have to show you something and then be like, oh, I never showed you that. I never did that. I never did that. That's exactly what Candace does. That's exactly what she does. And she's telling you that's what she does. This they that she's speaking of is her. Her pronouns are they. Okay? She's talking about herself. That's who she's talking about. When she says this about they did XYZ ABC, it is her. Candace Owens does XYZ ABC. That's who it is. That's crazy work, y'all. This is some crazy work. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. What did you say here? Phantom says this, bottom line. Who is in control, Frankist or God? Thank you for the two, and I would love to hear her answer that question. Or just say secret societies or God, occultists or God, Baal worshipers or God. Who is in control, Candace? Shout out. Thank you so much, Christine, with the 5. Candace uses an old dead cult as a cheap excuse to justify her open hate, trick followers, and invent a fake bad guy because she has zero truth. Come on. That is exactly what's up. Thank you so much for that. SC Dog come up in here with a 5. Candace Owens graduated from the University of Kamala with a degree in word saladology. That is hilarious and very true. Thank you so much for the 5. Greg, thank you, brother, with the 10. Says this, Candace glosses over the fact that Hamas and Hezbollah started attacking Israel first. We'll see. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, so don't run with this. She's going to say that the attacks by Hezbollah and Hamas were perpetrated by IDF to facilitate to get things started. Hezbollah and Hamas never did anything wrong. That's what she's going to say. I believe I've heard her say that. So that's how she would try to play that out. Let's get done with this, though, Jason. Let's go.
Conspiracy theories. Yeah, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a tinfoil hat head.
Right.
You called
Take out your tinfoil hats. Happy to wear one. I'm not going to be an idiot. I know the game that these people are playing.
Exactly. And Epstein was a conspiracy not so long ago. Remember that?
That's right.
So yeah, absolutely. And if someone wants to know like how serious this is, they might not trust Candace Owens, but how about Catholic Church and Vatican itself, huh? So I interviewed very high-ranking Masons in DC, and they themselves told me a story that I was like, oh, that happened? Really? And that doesn't bring up question marks to you guys. So apparently Vatican called them and invited them to go over to Vatican and talk to the leadership, because they suspected that Freemason branch out somewhere was orchestrating protests and trying to get some kind of coup going. So they actually called people in DC, Masons in DC, come over here and explain yourselves.
Wow. And I can tell you it's so funny because a priest gave me a gift when I was in Wyoming. He gave me a book and I haven't had time to read it yet. It makes me want to look it up, but it's called Murder in the 33rd Degree.
Oh yeah, I know the book.
Okay,
oh,
so I haven't read it yet, but
Yeah.
and because I was speaking to him about all of my study into Freemasonry and speaking about how it's really important for us to go back and to learn which families were baptized into the Catholic Church
Yes.
that were Frankists when that happened. And I don't know how to begin that pursuit of getting records, but
Right.
I just imagine the Vatican could. And that it is how your world is run. It's how it's
Absolutely.
always been run. And we just recently read a book in my book club just to kind of get people into understanding where it started with like Francis Bacon and I guess you could say more modern Freemasonry with Francis Bacon in the 12th century. And so I think now Americans, I think 10 years ago you couldn't have had this discussion, but now they're going, things are crazy. And I do think that something about Charlie Kirk's death catalyzed that understanding.
Absolutely. And before that, COVID and all this stuff, right? So people are slowly waking up, and no one calls anybody from Vatican for no reason to show up.
Who knows what she's talking? I have no idea what this woman's talking about. I think it's funny that Candace realized that she's gone so far off the reservation. So she had to try to come bring some kind of connection to all of this that she's been talking about for better than 10, 15 minutes and somehow or another relate it to Charlie Kirk. That's crazy work.
And answer questions,
Right.
especially Masons, like highest ranking Masons in Washington, D.C., like, explain yourselves,
Right.
like what's going on, right?
Very true.
So yeah, and to bring this back to TPUSA now, who I think they are directly in war with you for God knows why. I mean, their CEO died. You would think they want to investigate and be like, how can we help Candace Owens here? So instead, they are accusing you that somehow you hurt their organization. Obviously, they will never come out and say, well, our organization is going down because of a one person, So
has Turning Point said anything like that? That they make these stories up. Like, where is this story? Where is this being said? Who said this? Like, who is saying this? As far as I know, Turning Point has not. Now, of course, let me back that up. Blake or maybe Andrew have said some things on their podcast, but I don't think they've officially have a position like Turning Point is mad at Candace or at war with Candace. That sounds crazy because we could pull up a clip of Candace saying she wants to go to war with Turning Point. Like, that was before anybody even replied to her. But let her go, Jason.
And an organization that can be brought down because of a one person maybe shouldn't exist at all. Right? How about that? So, but if that's true, right? Wow. Why do you think that why do you think they are so like hateful towards you when all you're doing is just trying to answer questions, not even solve the damn case, trying to maybe fill the holes that are left in this investigation? That's really all you're doing.
One person cannot destroy an organization. One lie can. And that is how I see Turning Point USA. And what I find often with people who are engaged in this sort of behavior is that there is always this level of arrogance that accompanies it. And you have to imagine you're them. It's the biggest assassination, bigger than JFK, because they didn't have, everyone felt like they were there for the assassination because it's happening through our screens. They didn't have this technology. People are watching this on TikTok and watching this on X and watching this on YouTube. And everyone felt a spiritual pull, people who didn't know him on the other side of the world. I mean, Vladimir Putin made remarks about Charlie's assassination. Think about that. So for them, they went into this, and this explains the giddiness and the joy that they had at the memorial, that this energy is all going to be harnessed for us. It's this, we are Charlie's organization. We are Charlie, I think was kind of the shirts they were selling, right? And this is going to mean, and it did immediately mean in the beginning, more money for us. And we've arrived.
What this notion, because again, you do realize that Candace is telling you a story that she believes. There's no evidence to this point. None whatsoever. What did they get from, let's just assume, because she's said it tacitly, that Turning Point killed Charlie Kirk. So what did they actually get from that? What was the benefit? Is Turning Point doing better now than it was, on September 8th? Is it more influence now than September 8th? Like, fill me in. What did they get from it? If that's what she wants to go with, then why would they have done it? Like, where's your evidence that they got any benefit from it? What is it? That's the retarded part right there. Again, like I said, there are bad ideas, and that idea needs to be scrutinized, laughed at, and mocked. Man, this is dumb. This is dumb, and somebody needs to say it loud to her.
And then the truth peered in, and people said something's not right here, and so it ended up being that they could not actually effectively harness that energy. They could not control it, which they should have known that, because that energy was Charlie's. And Charlie would have never given his energy to a lie. So people sat there, they had money, they had power, they had access. Erica can pick up the phone and call the FBI. You start to get high on your own supply. nothing can take us down. You can imagine how they felt. It's us. He was at this office every day. And then people watched the memorial.
I'm not going to back up because I keep messing up when I back up, but just listen to how much projection she's giving. Like, just think about it. All that's projection. She's telling you what she thinks, not what they think, because you don't know that. Who's the they that they're talking about? The they is her. She's speaking on behalf of they because she is the they.
And I'll never forget Taylor Lorenz's tweet where she said, "Why do I feel like Candace Owens is the only one who actually cared about him?" Think about that.
Of course,
think about how
it was.
Crazy that is that she said this. Okay, so she's watching the spectacle, everyone's watching it, and she's going, "That was weird. Why do I feel like Candace was the only one who actually cared about him?" And I'm sitting here going, "Hey guys, like, are we teaming up? Are we gonna like try to figure out who?" And no,
here it comes.
It wasn't there. There was no desire, and so they blame me for being authentic because maybe they could have pulled it off. If Candace had just gone along with the narrative.
They did not anticipate that you would just get on it. So, okay, I want to play a little game.
She created that whole narrative because I believe in my mind, and I'm just telling you, just like Candace told you, I believe that the reason they didn't reach out to Candace is because they knew that Charlie Kirk didn't want anything to do with Candace. In the last 5 years, she has no evidence that they had any communication at all. Because otherwise, she would have shown it. She would have shown it with the metadata, with the proper date stamps on it, all that kind of stuff like that. She would have had no problem showing you that she talked to Charlie Kirk, 2 weeks ago before he died, or three months ago. She would have had no problem showing you that. All this stuff from 2018, 2017, 2019 is retarded because she knows that she wasn't in communication with him. She was not in relationship with Charlie Kirk like that. Now, back to where I'm going. That's why Turning Point didn't reach out to her, because she was persona non grata. They weren't dealing with her because Charlie wasn't dealing with her. There's evidence and proof that she was actually antagonistic to Charlie before he died. This whole story that she's putting on here, this LARP about I was his best friend, I was crying and weeping because I was a Mason of Turning Point USA, is all malarkey. It's all hot trash. And Turning Point knew that. That's why they didn't reach out to her. That's the problem. Okay, let's go.
Sure. So if TPUSA did some things differently, because they blame you, they really want to blame you and say like, oh, Candace destroyed whatever we built. Okay, great.
Nobody said that.
I believe personally that they themselves destroyed it in their lies and all this, right? So, okay, let's play a little game. If TPUSA after Charlie's death did not change the messaging that Charlie Kirk was trying to put out there, right? And what was it? Let's clear this up first, right? So Charlie was against genocide. Mm-hmm. He went to, I believe it was Patrick B. David's show that is misbehaving really badly right now. Like I can't watch the guy anymore. But he sat there and he said, I think they're going to do they're going to cleanse Gaza, like period. Like that, obviously it was bothering him. So he publicly said he's abandoning Israel cause. And then you knew him better than most people searching.
Did he say that? When did Charlie say he's abandoning Israel's cause publicly? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? If he said it on the Bet David, let me know. Send me the link in the timestamp where he said he's abandoning the Israeli cause on publicly. I want to hear where he said it publicly.
Better than me. He did not like, for example, Nicki Minaj, Ben Shapiro, all of this. So where are we with TPUSA right now? We are supporting Israel. We are bringing Nicki Minaj out on stage, a few months after Charlie's death. Ben Shapiro opens TPUSA. So Charlie Kirk's messaging, the person who built the organization himself, was completely changed. And they are blaming Candace Owens for ruining the organization. Oh no, maybe it was you, who actually changed the entire messaging this man was trying to get out there. And how is it Candace's fault?
I go back to that post you wrote that just went so viral in describing the attributes of Erica that, caused people to emotionally recoil.
Yep.
There was a portion of it where you were saying the problem with the psychopath and what makes them different is they had never experienced this emotion. So they don't know how to emulate it. The problem with Turning Point USA is just that, right? It's very clear that there has to be a psychopathology that is ruling the roost because they haven't thought through the natural response people will have to certain things that they're doing. So even if you, let's say, theoretically, plotted the assassination, everyone's guilty, everyone at Turning Point is guilty, right? If this is not being ruled, like whoever's making the decision is not an actual psychopath, you say, okay, we just need to keep things at least for a year, like what Charlie wanted. Okay, so like no Ben Shapiro on stage. Obviously, it's not a good idea because Charlie, it's pretty on record, he hates.
No, Charlie rocked with Ben. Charlie, one of his last interviews was with Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro was there the year prior. Like, what are you talking about?
Right. That'll make people go, you tell Erica, like, just to kind of go out there. Like when she immediately came out and went to Barry Weiss, do you believe he did it? Yes. No. If I'm directing PR, I'm like, no, you go, I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm waiting for stuff. Like, that's the obvious thing to say is like, you don't know, because that's how a human would feel is I don't know. Erica also be angry. The Egyptian plane thing. It's not funny. No, you should go. I don't know. That is really strange. I don't know. And I have contacts and I'm going to ask Kash Patel to employ, because that's how humans would feel. And this is the normal trajectory.
No, because the idea is retarded. The idea that people are flying planes to follow after somebody is retarded. And Candace, I'm sorry, Erica is not a retard. She's not stupid. So therein is the problem. You want people, that's why she keeps bringing up the Egyptian plane, because she really doesn't like that people keep thumbing and putting their finger on that issue about the Egyptian plane. That's why she keeps bringing it up. She doesn't bring up the multitude of other lies that she's given because people don't really talk about it that much. But the Egyptian plane, they bring that up a bit. So that's why she mentions it. But my point is, no, Candace, the problem is that story is ridiculous. That's why nobody brings it up. Nobody felt like it's actually something that needs to, like, people are flying planes around following you 3 days prior or 3 days after, wherever you were, and they're following you. That's just ridiculous. So that's why they don't bring it up, because it's dumb. But let's go.
Of human emotion after watching her husband be assassinated. Also, go away. No Zoom calls.
So
even if
true.
she's like, I'm ready. Like, how to manage a psychopath. No, psycho. Get back into bed. Pretend you're crying. Okay.
Right.
Pretend you can't get out of bed. Maybe lose 10 pounds or eat or gain 20 pounds, one or the other direction.
Right.
Like you emotionally eat or emotionally don't eat.
Wow.
And yeah, going to restaurants, celebrating, and laughing at the memorial, like all of that can't happen. So they needed a non-psychopath to manage what happened afterward.
Exactly.
Don't take down all of his stuff. You just keep saying his voice is going to live on forever. Everything they did ran so counter to how a normal human being would have reacted. And so all they had was money. That's what psychopath understands. Money equals power, right? So
this is a very odd take. This is y'all, I don't know. We're gonna try to make it through, y'all. Let me know. Yeah, this is very wild. Like, again, I'm telling you right now, this is a projection. She's projecting. So what she's saying is 100% what she would do. And dare I say what she probably would do or is doing, right? And she's laying it against April against Erica, because she's the better widow. Remember, Candace is a better widow, always better widow. This is some wild work right here, y'all. This is going to be studied by science.
we're like, well, we have money, so we'll just spend money on influencers telling people, as Ali Sakia did yesterday, that this is a spiritual sickness. Your soul is in peril. If you have any questions about Erica, okay, thanks, Ali. We'll just keep pretending these lies were normal, and like we'll go. That's fine. Spend money on Graham Allen every day, saying anybody who questions Erica, like, we can see what's happening here. You're not going to MK Ultra us into believing that her actions are normal, because we're human.
Yeah, and isn't it weird how everyone is okay to criticize everyone else? I don't know if you remember this, when Trump was running, I mean, things that were said about Melania, or, people were mean as hell. Mm-hmm. Nothing like that was said about Erica.
No.
And somehow we are, again, gaslighted into this that you can't touch her. You can't touch her. No. I don't want to touch her at all if she just stayed away. But here's the thing. When you come out as a public figure and you do all this, you are going to be a subject of talk, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry.
You don't get to skip it.
Exactly.
You don't get to skip it.
Yeah.
My life has felt like one long public autopsy, right? And that's because Charlie and I went through that. They started going through his life, looking into scandals, all of this stuff. I remember it's like, okay, well, this is what it means to be a public figure. And they're basically going, well, she gets to just graduate and no one can look into her and she's untouchable. And by the way, she's going to have more power than ever because this organization is taking in, it took in $250 million in like the last quarter or something.
Exactly.
I think more actually. And they're going, you can't say anything because we're just going to keep throwing down the widow card. No, she's not the widow. She is the chairman and the CEO of a company where a public assassination took place.
By choice, by the way. No, not
by
public,
choice.
but by choice. She's a CEO by choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And beyond that.
This is, again, that is, and we talked to Tracy. Shout out to Tracy Martin. Charlie Kirk left a will. The board operated and made a decision based upon what Charlie Kirk's wishes were as the CEO, a former CEO and president of the company. That's why Erica Kirk's there. They make it sound like she just took over. This is some crazy work. And you'll never hear them mention that. You'll never hear because Candace knows it wasn't just some kind of hostile takeover. She didn't just run up in there and say, I want to be the CEO. She knows this, but she will not say it. Okay, let's go.
They're saying it's out of, as she came out, as it was out of public duty, or private duty, I guess, to her husband, because apparently we're supposed to believe that Charlie had the exact opposite ideas in private than what he expressed publicly. That's BS, okay? And he just, 2 weeks before he died, something overcame him. And he said, hey, if anything ever happens to me, if I ever get shot in the neck, I want Erica to become the CEO and chairman. And they have an opportunity to present that video and they just don't want to present it.
It's not the video. What about the will? Why don't you ask them for the will?
Off of every possible thing you can grift off of, including the tent he died under, which was available for photo ops at AmFest. But the actual footage of him saying that, which would have been so powerful, so emotionally motivating, it would have made people get behind her, even if they didn't think she was qualified for the job, right? And be like, oh gosh, that's like the last video of Charlie saying this. Okay, if that's your last wish, I'll do it. No, they can't release that video.
Yeah, that tent was so weird. If someone did that to a friend of mine, I'll bury everyone. I would be, are you out of your mind? What are you doing?
Approved by Elizabeth McCoy.
That's a normal person's reaction. Yeah.
Her idea went in the room. They thought it was a good idea. They all approved it. Again, the roost has to be being ruled by psychopaths. Right. Anybody else would just be like,
yeah.
No, obviously we shouldn't do that. That's very strange. Weird. It's weird. It's haunting. It feels like a seance of some description. We're not doing that. And they're just like,
funny, but it's
so beyond funny. That. There's no human. I'm like, is there a human in sight at Turning Point USA?
Yeah.
Just a human. Just bring in a human. And just, what is your job? I am human. Like, what is your official title? Human. And just shut down every idea Blake Neff has.
Human reactions.
in charge of HR, human reactions. And I'm like, that's why I make a joke on my podcast. Hire me. Run it by me. I'll be like, no, obviously, no, you shouldn't do that. And so they are thinking that they can spend their way into editing public opinion, and they are learning in a, Melissa, sorry, I just have to, the recent speech she gave.
Yes.
There's not a human, right? There's not a human. There's so many things that should not have happened. Just go, no humans.
No,
they're sentinels. I am now down for the conspiracy that we're fighting sentinels.
I called it with Tucker too. I knew they would out Tucker at some point.
Of course. That's what he was fighting at the end. Yeah. I want Candace back. Tucker, they're trying to get rid of Tucker. No, you can't have Candace back. His last day, he texted people at Turning Point USA saying, I want Candace. September 9th. And that wasn't just that chat that you saw. He also texted more people saying, I want Candace back.
Right.
That's not what he said.
Because he woke up to what was around him. And I was always, as I was, I took Charlie, I don't like that person. Vibes.
Yep, exactly. And that was part of my game that I told you.
Remember, Candace is a better widow. Just remember that.
I wanted to play. Imagine for a second that these people had been just slightly smarter. And when Charlie passed away and was killed in a manner that he was, imagine if they came out and said, you know what, we are going to honor Charlie's last wishes and we're going to have Candace, open his ceremony or something like that.
Retarded. Goodbye. Nothing would have, girl, bye.
Or Tucker, or bring people that Charlie wanted back.
But they had Tucker
At least
there.
play the game.
The thing is, remember, Candace is upset that Turning Point USA knew that Charlie Kirk did not want Candace to be affiliated with their organization. That's what the reality is. Now, he didn't say that about Tucker. He didn't say that about about Ben Shapiro, but he did say that about Candace. That's why they did not bring her on. When she left, she was like, I thought we were going to get the whole band together, blah, blah, blah. She's mad about the fact that they knew that Charlie Kirk didn't want her there. And she couldn't bully her way in. That's the problem.
Better, you know? But do you think that part of it was they just didn't care? They just thought they were too powerful. They didn't have to play the game.
I think that because I believe Charlie was assassinated as a part of a broader conspiracy, I think also they, in their minds, were trying to delude the public into thinking that his legacy was Israel. I mean, Trump, within minutes of his death, posted a photo of Charlie hugging an Israeli flag with an American flag. Bibi comes out and tries to assert, I just spoke to him. I just invited him to Israel. So we were instantly getting hit with like Israeli propaganda. And
do y'all notice that she doesn't mention the Bibi Netanyahu letter the letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to Bibi? You notice she never mentions that anymore because she was found to be not being honest about what the letter said. And so that's yet another lie. There we go. Okay, let's go.
So almost like the best way to honor Charlie is to remember how much he loved Israel. And that registered as strange. Just registered as not the right time. This is very strange. And for people who knew how his opinions were shifting, as I did toward the end, it registered as especially strange. And then they fought that and said it wasn't true. No. And then people went, okay. I think that was the whole purpose. That was the whole reason that they immediately had Ben Shapiro on his show. I mean, the disrespect of that is stunning, right? You're supposed to hate the people he hated extra after he's dead. Even if it's not, like I said, even if it's not right.
But he just did an interview with Ben Shapiro literally, was it a month before? Like she seems to be forgetting these things. I don't know if she's getting old and getting senile or what.
Righteous anger, you should still experience it because you should, if you want to misplace and be angry, you'd be like, and you did this to him in high school. I don't even like you. You know, you made him feel sad in 8th grade. Like that's how I felt. Like any person who did anything to him. I remember a journalist that like emailed and I was like, are you out of your mind? I remember how you tortured Charlie writing article and you want to like despicable.
All of these friends all of a sudden became best friends of Charlie Kirk. And they're opening the ceremonies. And it's pathetic, man. That's what it is. It's pathetic.
Wanting to open, and that's why I say, you know, there's an element of this. And Megyn Kelly, I think she said on her show, she was talking about the obsession that Mark Levin kind of has with her. And it's deranged and it's crazy. And then the gaslighting when she replies, they're like, oh my God, what happened to Megyn? It's like, what do you mean what happened to Megyn? Do you see what he's like, what she's enduring right now?
Yes.
But she said something like, I think if he could physically harm me, like he would. And that's what I keep trying to get people to understand. That's real. That is how I feel about Ben. There is something not right with him that he was able to do it. That he was able to instantly say, I'll pick up the bloody mic. Everybody knows how he felt about him. This is the worst kept secret in politics. It's not even a secret. Andrew Colvin admitted that on the day that he died, he was upset with Andrew for making him interview Ben the day before. I mean, he admitted it in his New York Times interview. He was like, now you have to host a show because you made me interview him. Everybody knew this, right?
Find me that article. I want to read that. If that's what he said and not her reading into it, please send me that jwitt@jwitt.com. Thank you so much.
But think about what it takes spiritually to not feel some sort of shame, to just be able to go out there, to go to his memorial, to go sit in the chair of his studio and to give $1 million and to sort of try to like assert yourself into his legacy. What is wrong with you? There are people I don't like in politics and I don't, you know, have real beef with. Like, I don't like Barry Weiss. I don't like her, right? I'm like, I think she's just like not talented, not a real person and annoying, right? But I have no like personal beef with her. But if God forbid something happened to Barry Weiss, you think that I could stomach being that sleazy? No. Oh, I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can try to speak on her behalf and pretend that I'm going to take on her legacy. That gives me the spiritual ick. I couldn't stomach myself. The fact that they can is why I say, like, spiritually, we are dealing with something different.
Yeah, something is very wrong with them for sure. And it gives me Alan Dulles vibes. I mean, guy, it was not enough to kill the president, he had to come back and lead the investigation, as if they couldn't find another person to put in charge. Like, no, he had to do it. Almost like in your face, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree with you, absolutely. So you got to tell me, how did you manage to piss off two presidents?
Honestly, it was...
So one...
I'm talented.
Yes,
I'm very
you are.
talented.
Yes, you are.
I was like, it's so funny because George and I were discussing, like, leading up to when we started getting, just even receiving a letter from a sitting president of a foreign country. It's like, does this happen ever in like the history of the world? So I was thinking,
not often.
I was like, I think this is just to shut me up. Having a president call you and ask you not to talk about like the gender of a foreign leader's wife is just all of this is very strange. And I have to tell you, I was like, oh, of course they're not going to actually sue. Right. Like I was like, because that's just so crazy. That would be world history. It's never happened in the history of the world. Like a sitting.
You dared them to sue you, Candace. You challenged them to sue you, and they obliged you. What's the problem? I don't understand. You asked for it, and they gave it to you. Well, what's the problem?
President, I'm like, this is just like, of course not. This is crazy. And then when we got the lawsuit, I was like, my goodness, this is like, I've made world history. And then my husband actually researched, and no, it's been done one other time. I'm gonna have Skylar or them look up the president. It was sued somebody in Hawaii or something. I can't think of what country. It's a very obscure country. Sued a sitting president, sued someone, and he lost a lawsuit. And I was like, darn, I almost made history. It's only happened one other time in world history, but it's bonkers, and it doesn't signal to the public that I'm lying. It signals to the public that I am very much telling the truth. This is not normal. This is not how you react. People say things about Trump. People call. Could you imagine opening the gate to this? By the way, of foreign leaders being able to sue. I mean, whew. Vladimir Putin's just going to be dropping lawsuits every day. Like, you called me this. You had no evidence. You called me a killer. You did this. It's
and winning, by the way.
Right, it would be winning. He will win. The things that have been said. You said we were colluding with Russia. I'm suing. Like that is the opening that gateway to even the pretense of that is like, whoa. What did we land upon? Yeah. What did we land upon that has you shook? And again, you see this as a PR strategy because she's not suing me for saying that she was born a dude. Right. Anybody that can read a lawsuit, that is not what this is about. She is suing me for saying she stole, technicality, she stole her brother's ID. She's suing me for mentioning MK Ultra as being the day of her fake birthday, that they established, which it was, MK Ultra. And Jean-Michel Trogneau did happen to go missing. Brigitte says, oh, I was here for the moon landings. I'd like to hear more about that. What were you doing in 1969 in the moon landings in America? And there's a lot of evidence that Jean-Michel Trogneau came to America for a spell and was doing stuff in the military. They have sealed his file, won't let people access it to defend themselves. Why? It's aged out. It's supposed to be public record, publicly accessible, and they won't do it. And hey, why don't you just like show up somewhere with your brother and just debunk all of the rumors? Have your brother sit for an interview and say, oh yeah, I'm the brother. I'm a little camera shy, but this has gotten ridiculous. So,
or just ignore me. Just ignore me. If I'm so wrong and I'm crazy and I'm a clown, you know how many clowns are out there speaking, about Vladimir Putin, Trump.
It's funny because when they ignore you, you get upset and you make up new stories. See Brian Harpo for that example. When they address you, you get upset and you take what they say and you run 1,000 miles in the other direction. See Erica Kirk for that example. But then when they sue you, you get all hurt in your feelings because they're not ignoring you, they're not addressing you, they're legally pursuing charges against you. Then you get upset about that. Like you just can't be satisfied, man. That's this crazy woman.
Everybody just ignore me.
Yeah, why are you taking trips to the White House and asking the president to shut down a podcast?
And then tell him that, as I understand, he told him he would help out with Russia or something like that? Or
the Ukrainian war caged it, but I don't believe him, obviously. And I think Sergio Gore was kind of pulling the strings on that. But it was basically, like if you stop talking about this, because I just need you to do that for negotiations, like trying to end the Ukraine war. And so principally, I was like, I'm happy to take a temporary vow of silence on this because I don't want to be responsible for Christian men being slaughtered in the East. But obviously, eventually, I want to talk about this because this is an important case where somebody is in power who harmed a child, and it is also getting into the occult and the things that they do and the grooming that takes place. And I've not edited, in my opinion, without question. Brigitte was born a dude. And so now it's about, are we going to bankrupt you for knowing? Well, one of the things that's, I feel like I am willing to take a lot of this repeated attempts to blackmail me is because what they are at risk of exposing. Everyone's paying attention to these cases, right? These are not quiet cases. You're not going after a random person. They're exposing themselves. They're going to expose themselves in the process. Like with the Charlie Kirk case, they wanted everyone to stop talking about it. Everyone's reading every document. So the question really is to the government. How far are you willing to take?
You know what everybody else is also reading? They also want to read that email that you allege that you got that was accidentally sent to the wrong place from the Department of War or whatever. We also want to read that your Egyptian plane data or the email about the French assassination plot. Those are other pieces of information we want to read as well. You know what I'm saying? Just, since we're just reading stuff, I want to read that.
Because at the end of the day, when people realize it's all an illusion and that you're just going to stick stuff on an innocent person, try to destroy them, you will end up with a revolution.
Absolutely. I agree with you. And before we wrap up, I got to ask you, what was it like when you met Erica Kirk the first time?
I remember meeting Erica at Del Frisco's. And
did Charlie introduce you guys? Was it with Charlie?
He wanted me to come meet her.
Listen to this.
And I was excited to meet her because she was giving him attention. And what I mean by that is, out of respect for their marriage, I won't get into too much detail about the time before he met her. It's not offensive to the marriage. It's like obviously people try to date before, and he was trying to date this girl that he was totally obsessed with.
Listen to what she said. Okay, listen to what she said. I don't want to disrespect the marriage, so let me tell you something that disrespects the marriage. That's crazy word.
When you met Erica Kirk the first time.
I remember meeting Erica at Del Frisco's. And
did Charlie introduce you guys? Was it with Charlie?
He wanted me to come meet her. And I was excited to meet her because she was giving him attention. And what I mean by that is, out of respect for their marriage, I won't get into too much detail about the time before he met her. It's not offensive to the marriage. It's like obviously people try to date before, and he was trying to date this girl that he was totally obsessed with. And this girl that he was chasing, it's kind of one of the worst kept secrets. It was like me and Don Jr. were trying to help him navigate this. And, because I was always with Charlie, basically every time this other girl would text him, like I was texting her back. I basically had to become a lesbian for a year as he chases goes, what should I say back? I'm like, Charlie, at some point you're gonna have to text her yourself. Like everything you'd screenshot, what should I say, blah, blah, blah. And kind of, he always believed
opinion,
if I work hard enough, I can get this girl. That was his mentality. And he was just obsessed with her. Reading back on those messages of this girl who then became one of my best friends and was in my wedding because of how much I felt like I was chasing her, because I liked her a lot, that the girl he was chasing. And I knew that she was going to let him down because it was very obvious that she wasn't into him.
Yeah.
And because he was kind of young in those ways. And she was younger than him, but, younger girls, older guys sort of a thing. And Charlie, I basically kind of forced him. And I was like, you need to go sit down with her and you need to ask her. It's been a long time. I've been messaging this girl a lot. And I think you need to just sit down and say, is this something or it's not? And I knew she was going to let him down. And she did. And he was heartbroken about it. I mean, truly heartbroken about it. And as someone who viewed him as a little brother, obviously you don't, I wanted to find, Charlie, it's okay. You're going to find a girlfriend, whatever. And so when Erica, then Tyler Boyer sets up this, I have this person for you to meet, and he comes and he's like, oh, well, she's a bit older. And initially he was like, I'm just going to use her to try to get so-and-so jealous or whatever, because this was the first date or whatever. Yeah. And then she was a bit more persistent and giving him the godly spiel, and the messages, and I'm just going through our messages, look, this is maybe what God wanted me to have. And, he was sort of wrapped in on, hooked on that because Charlie was a Christian. And so when I went to meet her, my thought process was, this is probably just going to be a girlfriend, but I'm glad because this will nurse his broken heart, and also he'll realize there's other people, and great. obviously my first instinct as a woman was that she was older than me. And I just thought that's kind of weird that she would be into Charlie, because Charlie's quite young in those ways. He's an absolute genius. He's got so much going for him, but like he's young in those ways. Like I'm like telling this kid to like wear a suit that fits him, you know? And he was inexperienced, and he's been very open about the fact that like he was a virgin when he got married. So I don't feel like I'm oversharing here. And when I met her, I just...
Oh, sorry, hold on. Was Charlie Kirk virgin? What?
Yeah, that's something he talks about.
Oh,
yeah, so he was
didn't
very...
know that.
Yeah,
How
I mean,
did
he hadn't
that?
even
Wow.
had his first
That
kiss.
is so sweet.
Yeah, you know,
Aw.
so that's why he was so unsure of himself in those ways. So confident if you talk to him about anything else, he could debate anybody. But when it came to the girls, he was young, you know.
That's why he never saw anything coming.
So when I met her, and to be clear, I'm going to say I became best friends with the girl he was chasing. She was fun, you know. I just... nothing, just what everyone kind of sees now, just kind of, okay. But I did not care, and I supported. I was like, go for this.
Right.
Every message will show.
But you were never friends with Erica.
No, because there just was something like, I don't know, I can't explain it.
Did you ever think that she wanted it that way? Did you ever think that she wanted you out?
Hindsight is 20/20.
Right.
Everything
There you
changed, but I just did not think that way, because it's just not how I think. There was nothing when Charlie and I first started traveling together, I had a boyfriend, not my husband. I had a different boyfriend. And so it just, my brain didn't think this way with him. There was no
reason to. There was no reason to. Charlie had everything.
Yeah, you know, if she's traveling with us, great. Like, I want to get to know her. I want you to have a girlfriend. I wanted that so bad for him because I knew how much he wanted it. And that's how we were with each other. We constantly root each other on. Like, we were always defending each other. We always root each other on. And so if this is going to be your girlfriend, I'm going to love her more than you do, sort of a thing. And same with George. When he met George,
Do you like him?
First he said, this is going to be bad for your brand. I was like, Charlie, and this is what I mean. He had these little autistic, like, he would hate if I said that, but like autistic like qualities where I'm like, love is not a brand, Charlie. Like, these are the sort of conversations I would have to him. Charlie, love is not a brand. Okay. It's like, and then he and George like just adored each other, and George was traveling with us. So he really got to know him. And then I have this message where he just was like, I just have a vision. And he's like, he's the right guy. And I see this so clearly for you, and it's whatever. And I always think back now and I get emotional about it. I genuinely think that meeting George saved my life, because it was right when it took me down a different path in life. I was very much in the turning point. And if I always think, what if I had stayed? And I was still doing tours with Charlie, but George took me down a different path. And I thank God for that. And it was all happened very quickly after Charlie had the vision about his death. Charlie had the vision about his death. Erica came into his life. They were dating sort of quietly. I meet George, fall head over heels, get married, get engaged 18 days later. And I just replay 2018 in my mind all the time. And then in 2019 was when suddenly I start to realize, like, forces are sort of...
Some things just
new
happen.
People are
because,
arriving in his life. He's got a PR agent, Stacey Sheridan, and I'm going, these people are weird, but I never thought Erica, because I just thought didn't even look into her. Look, this is just going to be a girlfriend, and it's great that he has a girlfriend and he's getting, experience with it.
And happy,
I just rooted for him. So
yeah, wow, how interesting. I think it was all, like I said, meant to be, because Charlie was on this path where.
Okay, real quick, because if you're like me, you're getting kind of sick and tired of hearing this. I'm gonna pull up the clip from the day, the first episode after Charlie Kirk passed away. Candace talking about Charlie and Erica. Let me pull it in.
And he's been through hell. And
green hearts in the chat.
Yeah, Charlie was by my side the day that I got married. Of course, he was by my side. When I got married to George. And of course, Charlie fell in love with Erica. That entire journey to me when I was reading through the text is so funny, because it was exceptional. I was always leaning into Charlie's analytical mind and making fun of him. Like, oh, well, all we need to do is get a plan. You love Erica? Okay, what's the plan? What are we going to do? What's step one? What's step two? And the plan that I came up with instantly was, all we have to do is convince her that her last name is terrible. Her last name, she's got to marry you because it's practical. Mrs. Erica Kirk sounds so much better than Miss Erica Francie. What is that last name? It's a practical decision. This is the text chain from that. Charlie and Erica Kirk, he says it's going to be the power couple of a century. I need to continue to pray about it. I said, her last name's dumb. She literally needs you to propose. It's way too complicated. He said, I'm going to tell her it sounds like a sneeze. It's horrible. And then I wrote, marry me. It's a logistics thing. That's just who we were. Always making fun and always wanting to know what the plan was. And obviously it worked, you guys. It worked. Our plan worked. We broke Erica down. First came the name shame, then came the wedding, and then came the children. You know, Charlie really loved Erica from a time reading through the text today. Just loved her. He loved his family. He really did. And
I just want y'all to hear that, because you don't hear anything about what she just said to this young lady, the other host, the other interviewer.
You know, essentially,
you don't hear any of that here. It just seems very interesting. I want to get done with this because I'm getting sick of these people.
He sacrificed himself without him even knowing for American people to wake up.
That's what he said.
And you were there to fight for it.
He did know. That's the scary part. He did know.
Oh, he did know because he felt it. But do you think that he kind of? So
he said my death, and he kept telling me he would die. And these are in messages.
Right.
So I shared it. He said that he was going to die from the moment he signed on a dotted line and turning point. He started having visions of his death and that he was going to die, and he wasn't going to make it to see the end of the revolution, but that his death would be tied to the revolution and that people would wake up. So the fact that Charlie knew that in 2018, it was the most haunting thing for me to reread, because at the time I was like, get some sleep. You're tired. And he said that he just constantly dreamed it. And then he died. So.
Where is this evidence that he constantly dreamed that? Where's the evidence, Candace? And that he told you? Like, where's that? That's what we need to see. Because I don't think we should take anything you say as gospel without any kind of evidence. And we don't have any evidence. There's no reason to believe it.
And where does this battle take you now? And you're not alone in this. Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, these people. Poor Megyn. She accidentally ended up in the group.
Respect to Megyn Kelly.
Absolutely.
Because I would never, if you had told me to pick who would be the person to, I can't even explain to you how much it means to me. Like, because when I was just telling the truth and, hey, his views on Israel were shifting.
Right.
And they just spent all the money to have people come down on me. That was actually her crime. Was she just said, his opinions on Israel were changing.
Right.
And it was crazy.
That was it.
That's it. Yeah. She told the truth about her conversations. She had long conversations with Charlie about it. He came on her show. One of the last shows he did was Megyn Kelly venting about it, and they had conversations off record. Tucker Carlson told the truth. He has messages. And so that it was such an act of bravery. And then she's just stood her ground on it. Stood her ground on it.
Absolutely. No, she's awesome. I give her more credit because she comes from this very indoctrinated world of this, big media. And to be able to be strong enough to get out of it and, somehow find your own way and then become even more powerful. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely kudos to her. Talk about your faith.
My faith.
Yes. And how it shows up in your work.
It's funny because, as I told you, I've spent the last 2 years studying theology full stop, because I realize I always go back to when I met my husband and I was learning about him. Obviously, I'm learning about him during the engagement because we were 18 days. But one of the things I thought was so weird was that he chose to read theology. We say majored, they say you read. And so he chose to read theology at Oxford. And I thought, wow, of all of the subjects, why would you want to pick theology? It sounds so boring, right? And the answer that he gave to me was that everything is guided by theology. The whole world is theology. And it didn't hit me. I was just like, okay, whatever, sounds fun. And he had made the decision to become a Catholic, even though he was raised in a strong Anglican household. Very big deal in England to become a Catholic, especially from an Anglican household. I just didn't sort of get what he meant by that. Everything is guided by theology. What do you mean by that? And so my journey was sort of this awakening to, oh no, everything is guided by theology. What is your theology actually? What is moving you? He's like, that is the most motivating thing in the world. That is what motivates people, blind faith or an absence of faith. And when I started because I was just going to a non-denominational church at this time, and I now realize that all of these people who are quote unquote Christian influencers, they actually don't believe in heaven and hell. Right?
What?
If you truly knew, truly believed that there was a heaven and that there was a hell, how would it correct your behavior? What risks would you be willing to take?
What?
What would you sacrifice? What would you, and for me, I know that heaven and hell is real. And so I am not bending the knee to Satan, not for money. You can't take that with you when you go. Not for houses, not for cars, not for friends, not for invites to Republican dinners with rubber chicken, not for more opportunities to speak to powerful people in DC. I am not exchanging my ticket to heaven for any of that. Okay. So that's what shapes everything. It shapes everything for me. And so that the focus for me and for my husband is to make sure that we do not lose our tickets to heaven and that our children also do not lose their tickets to heaven. And I would love to see everybody there. You know, I hope everybody comes to know the one true faith. I hope that people realize it doesn't matter if they smear you or libel you or try to embarrass you or try to humiliate you, because this is a blip. Life is a blip, blink, it'll be over. And then you are going to be welcomed or rejected into the eternal.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. And you know what I love about you? Even with all this stuff that's going on, like there's not an ounce of hate I feel you have towards these people, not even tiny bit. After everything they've said, done to you, try to destroy your family, try to destroy your show, not an ounce of hate. Candace, this is amazing.
Yeah, I don't wake up and because it's
poisonous.
It's poison. I think about that when I think about the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
You've spent 3 years trying to destroy your enemies. That is so corrupting to wake up every day. I can't imagine, like, to my team, this is the directive. How do we destroy the Daily Wire? It's like, that is, oh God, could you imagine just the cloud that just descends?
And you end up destroying yourself when you do that.
Of course,
that's what
because
happened to
it
Daily
is
Wire.
destroying your spirit.
Yes.
You can't have success like that. And so I'm surrounded by too much happiness. I obviously, just being around children every day. They don't afford you the right to be miserable. It's why I started doing a co-homeschool situation, because I love to deal with toddler problems first. The first thing of the day, deal with toddler problems, realize what really actually matters, what they're grappling with. And it has shaped me and has focused me. And so for me, just like my grandfather, it's faith and it is family.
Absolutely amazing. My last question, and we're done here. I know it's not going to end up this way. Like, if I can say somewhere around 100%, it's not. But if Erica Kirk turns out to be super innocent in everything, and we're just, unfairly blaming her of maybe wrong grief or whatever, what would you say to her if that ends up that she's absolutely innocent in all of this?
If Erica is absolutely innocent in this, I think I would just have more questions. Like, why'd you lie to me? I would seek to understand. And I considered that plausibility, by the way, that like it was everyone around her that was kind of, and she was in a state of shock and she was catatonic. But then when I met her, it wasn't that. When I met up with her, it wasn't that. And the lies are too devastating. These aren't little lies. These are cover-up lies. The Superman neck lie. Is this AI? Like the first thing, she could just drop the video. She's this chairman and the CEO, instruct them to drop the video. And if they tell you no, say I'm going to go live. You have all the power. So
nobody cares about
it would be hard to imagine a scenario where her hands are completely clean of everything. How dirty her hands are, I don't know. Wow. But I do know that you only lie, like I always say, when you are covering something up. So when I say these people are involved in a cover up, that is what I mean. They are lying and they are covering things up. And it doesn't make sense that she has a close relationship with Kash Patel. She should hate Kash Patel for 1,000 different reasons. Right now, her lawyers are arguing in court. The defense is saying her lawyers are saying, we want to keep this May date.
No, this is not her lawyers. That's the problem. That's the problem. Well, let it go.
And the defense is saying we can't because the FBI hasn't given us files. Call Kash.
Yeah, we don't even have gun.
Call Kash.
Yes.
Make it happen right now. Why are you going to events with Kash?
Yeah. What's up with that? Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I was asked the same question. I was like, after my post, and I gave a very, very easy answer to people. I have no problem apologizing to anybody if it comes to that, because we all make mistakes. But right now, Charlie Kirk's case is important enough that I'm willing to risk my reputation and damage and say what I'm saying. Because yes, Charlie's case is important enough. So no problem with that.
Right. And I agree with you 100%. I will say I am so sorry. We had it so wrong.
Yep.
But I can already say we didn't have it so wrong because we've caught her in so many verifiable lies. So
Exactly.
Does it mean that she pulled the trigger and killed her husband? I don't know anybody that's accused her of that. But I have accused her of being dishonest, and I think I've proven my case, that she is dishonest.
What is your
What's
evidence?
motivating that dishonesty is yet to be discovered.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You're so wonderful. And it
Thank
was a
you.
true honor.
It was an
Thank
honor to
you.
meet you. I'm so happy that we were
thank
able to do this.
Thank you. Me too.
All right, we're finished. I know y'all are tired. I'm tired of it too. Good gracious. Woo. We made it through. That was dumb. There was a lot of glazing going on over there. That was some crazy stuff right there. I don't even know. I gotta go. Let's move on to these supers. Y'all, thank you so much. What did Phantom say this? Nothing said about faith is actually about faith. I told y'all, I don't believe Candace is a believer. I have no reason to believe that Candace is a Christian. She told you nothing about her faith. What is her faith in? Her faith in whom? Nothing. SC Dog said this. I thought she met Erica at the airport during the Israel trip. See, this is what I'm telling you. Every time Candace tells a story, it morphs and changes. This is when she did meet him initially. She met her at the airport. Now all of a sudden it's something different. I'm not sure, but hasn't Erica filed something through the courts to have a copy rights on Charlie's name? I don't know that. Maybe so. I hope not, because that might ding me. It's possible, but I don't think so. Shout out, man. Mindy Ann has been a member for 4 months. She says, wait, she just contradicted her narrative that Ben was never on TPUSA. See, that's what I'm saying. The more she talks, the more things just don't add up. Shout out for sure. Thank you so much for the love of Jesus with the 2. Candace views are dropping. She is spiraling. I do believe that, but all she got to do is just, swipe the card and get those bots going again. So I don't get too excited about it. Speaking of being void of feelings, has Candace ever showed anything other than vitriol about Charlie's death? No, I don't think so. I mean, she looked sentimental during this the video clip that I just shared, but I mean, that's really it. When the smoke clears, that's all I got. Man, Elizabeth, thank you so much for the 5. No question, no comment, just pure love of the game. Thank you so very much for that. I appreciate it. Candace uses the old dead cold. Yeah, thank you so much for this, Christelle. I do appreciate it. Thank y'all. What y'all think about that? Give me your thoughts. Give me your overall real quicks. Yeah, grab your Grace and Peace t-shirt. Tell me what your thoughts are before we get ready to round these bases and make our way on out of here. I don't feel like I watched an interview. You know what? I can dig that. I think the last 3 questions were very more interview centric, but the rest of it, I agree with you 100%. She makes me want to throw up. I mean, really. The letter. What about the letter, Candy? Yeah, that's another great example. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. That's what my kids would say. My brain hurts. Wait. Kelly said her brain hurts. Candace has never repented or asked God for forgiveness. See, that's what I'm telling y'all. 2 crazy ladies. Somebody pointed out to me that even Baron Coleman, they feel like their affiliation with the Catholic Church is their salvation. That is how they are saved, because they are affiliated with the Catholic Church. No repentance, no recognition of sin, none of that stuff. It's the fact that they are Catholic or that they go to a Catholic church is their salvation. I mean, go back and listen to Baron Coleman talk about his salvation. You'll hear it. She mentioned being a lesbian. That is very interesting that she says that. She says it jokingly, but is she joking? She lied so much. She forgot what she lied about. I mean, there it is. That's true. I'm good if I never hear her voice again. Dog, Texas mom. I agree with you though. Cloudy, exactly. She basically turned into, yeah. She makes me angry. Yeah. I just hate that she sat there and made up that whole story about Charlie was dating one of her friends or somebody else before Erica. And again, like the vitriol. And again, there's little small little swipes at Erica. I mean, okay. I just hope you sleep well at night. That's all. I hope you sleep well. Because that's just some gross stuff right there. Like, dang, really? You gonna really dog that man out like that and dog his wife out like that? Really? That's crazy work. She did say she wanted to shake Erica. That was right. Yeah, it has benefits. That's according to them. Yeah, it wasn't a good interview. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a hard-hitting interview. I don't think they asked any really good questions. And definitely not something I'm like, oh yeah, we really got something out of that. We heard a lot of this, and it was pure glaze. Yeah, it was a lot of glazing going on. And I don't think that, but well, you know what? Let me take that back. As with all these things, the more you listen to people talk, the more you're able to pull parts together and be like, well, wait, you said this and that contradicts that, and so on and so forth. So one of the things I think that we definitely can say unequivocally, Candace Owens is going to find a way not to talk about her family. She's going to find a way not to talk about her family. We already knew this, but Candace Owens she loves the occult. And conspiracies and dark entities, secret organizations, she loves that stuff. Because she talked about that in more detail than she talked about her quote unquote faith. Did you notice that? But she loves being a Christian. She loves the Catholic Church and so on and so forth. But when she had an opportunity to talk about it, I don't even know what she said, truth be told. We know unequivocally that she's going to reinvent people's stories with impunity. She's just going to do it. She's just going to make up stories. Charlie hated Ben Shapiro and this, that, and the other, and this and that, with no evidence, no proof, or anything like that. But we knew that, right? We already knew that. And I think lastly, she does talk about her family, though. I was surprised she talked about her family. I did not think she was going to talk about them at all. I didn't think they was even going to get a head nod, but they did. However, what they talked about, I think we do need to be like a little bit more understanding. Like, yeah, that was a slide in the past. I mean, she mentioned them, sure, but it's not in regards to, I have a deep affection for my husband and kids, my wife and kids. I got deep love for them. It's just like, these are other people that I got to talk about. So let me go ahead and bring them in. But she won't talk about her extended family. She won't talk about her immediate family, her mom and dad. Nah, they don't exist. I mean, you would think that her brother and sisters and herself lived in that apartment by themselves, the roach infested apartment by themselves. She's wait. Ooh, that's a good one. Erica is Candace's income. That is wild. Yeah. Now she's obsessed with other people's husbands and the occult. Ooh, I see what you did there, Sat2 Cat. I see exactly what you did there, and I agree with you 100%. Okay, so what do we got? Candace Owens kept talking about how Erica is not acting like a grieving widow. Last time, she doesn't have Holy Ghost. Amen. Did you count how many times she talked about her husband and kids? Automotive truth. I think I counted like 4 or 5 times. So it was more times than I thought, though. I thought it would be. So I have to give her credit for that. Does she know that Jesus was a Jew? Don't tell her. Let her be surprised. I bet George doesn't even listen to her when she's talking to him. It's very possible. It's very possible. But yeah, that was it. Y'all, thank y'all so much, everybody. That was a wild one, though. Jason, you made my brain hurt with this. It was a lot longer than I thought. I knew it was an hour and a half. I actually sped it up a little bit. So because it was an hour and 30 minutes. So I did kind of speed it up a little bit to kind of move it along. However, it was painful. So I apologize, SC Dog. Please charge it to the head, not to my heart. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt you. But yeah, that was terrible, man. Tell me what y'all thought about it, y'all. I want to say thank you to everybody. I do want to remind you that we are doing our Tracy Martin book giveaway at the end of the month. So please make sure you like the video, you comment in there, Tracy Martin. I'm picking 3 people. If we get 10,000 views on that video, and I think at the moment it's moving along. I want to say it is like 4,500, 4,500. Drive that joker all the way up to the roof, man. What do we got here? 3,900, 39. So almost 4,000 views. If it hits 10,000, she said she'll give me 2 more books. So that'll be cool. And the book looks pretty cool. So please check it out. It's in the pin. It's in the community post. So please check that out there. Everybody, I want to say thank you so much for supporting the channel. Thank you so much to the moderators. Y'all do a great job. Yeah, well, I want to get 2 more books. Actually, absolutely. Hey, run it up to 50. I don't know. Right. Well, that's kind of what I meant. Yeah. That come to Jesus meeting. Yeah. Her coming to Jesus. Yeah. We're going to have to say something. You know what? I got a video that I think would. No, I'm going to drop it tomorrow. I have a video I think that you all will get a lot of value out of. I just finished it this morning. It's ready, but I'm gonna drop it tomorrow. I will drop it tomorrow. I don't want to even give you a hint. If I give you a hint, y'all will know exactly what it's about. But I will drop it as first thing in the morning, so y'all can check it out. I would love for y'all to give me your 2 cents on that. My Make Brainstorm and Grady getting videos up. Who's Brittany? Who's Brittany? Oh, you're Brittany. If Candace truly accepted Christ, you would be the first to embrace her. Erica. Right? Shout out for sure. There we go. Yeah, I like that. I agree with that, Brittany, 100%. I agree with you 100. All right, good people. I want y'all to get out of here. Go enjoy your families. Enjoy your Friday night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for liking the video, for commenting, all that good stuff. We are on our road to hitting 150,000 likes this month. So please, go through, check out a couple videos, hit the like button if you didn't hit them already. Help your brother out. I really do appreciate it. Thank y'all so much to the moderators. Green hearts in the chat on the way out the door. Make sure you tip your waiters, all that kind of good stuff. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow, Lord willing. And until then, everybody. Oh, super stop. Oh, man, I got to tell y'all this real quick. I know y'all are like, Jason, come on, bro. Get on script. Thank y'all for praying for my mom. Wednesday, she had her shoulder surgery. So her left shoulder is robotic, just like her right shoulder. So everything went well. It was super. I'm kind of surprised how quickly they get it done, because I'm like, it took like an hour and a half. I wasn't even able to leave and go get breakfast before they were calling me saying they're done. So thank y'all so much for praying for her. She is currently in the hospital at the current moment, getting physical therapy. She'll be going to a rehab for a month to just, work with the occupational physical therapist to make sure everything works right, all that kind of good jazz. And then she'll be able to go back home. So thank y'all so much for that. I just want to let y'all know, give you an update on what's going on. We can make, Terminator grandma jokes, all that kind of stuff. Because we joke about that. But so yeah, everything's good, no problems. As far as I know, they removed the pain blockers yesterday though. So there was a little bit of problem there. But besides that, she's doing fine. Everything moves right, all that kind of good stuff. So thank y'all so much for praying for her. Everybody, have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Whitt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.